yourself above me. I was into you, but I'm over it now. And I was trying to be nice, but nothing's getting through, so let me spell it out. A, B, C, D, E, F. You don't hit your mom, and your sister, and your job, and your Craigslist couch, and the way your voice.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Frustration Unlimited podcast, also known as the FU podcast. This is episode 134. It is July 27th, 2022. And Patrick, would you like to tell us about the weather?
Good evening.
Good evening. It is fucking hot outside.
Because Andy was sad we didn't
The
stop talking
high,
about weather.
the high for the next 3-4 weeks is over 100.
Is Satan's asshole. Oh, wait, sorry.
No,
No, the next
Satan's
couple days
asshole.
are like 99, aren't they?
What?
I think Saturday and Sunday is supposed to, they're the 2 days.
Are you high?
I'm
Sort of. Yeah.
Could be.
I will not
Possibility.
admit to
Yeah, no, they're saying it's a possibility.
Yeah.
oh no.
Oh, a cold front's gonna go through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go,
2 degrees. 2
go
degrees
down
drop.
to like
I
fucking
looked-
99.
I looked last night and it was 99 3 days in a row, but now I'm back and now it's back in the triple digits 3 days in a row with 99 on Sunday, maybe because there's
Oh my God!
else.
Everybody's just like, get your coats out.
Seriously,
Right.
I'd fucking-
Long Johns.
Right.
Carhartt.
it's
whatever.
camping weather. Let's get this
Hell
party
yeah.
started. Fire in the backyard, bonfire time.
Bonfire time. Man, if there wasn't a burn ban, jeez.
Is there?
Is there a burn ban?
Oh yeah.
I mean, if
Leave
there's
it.
not one, there should be. Cause
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very true. Very true.
Oh yeah, and I just if there's anybody like in the officials of Denton County or Lake Dallas, take that fucking train away on Swisher. I hate that train. I hate Swisher.
why are you still driving on Swisher? That's the better question.
I just my
Why
God.
couldn't that have been one of the ones they built a bridge over, right?
You know what? The train went by and I counted how many people was on that train. 3.
Oh yeah, it's the biggest taxpayer waste of money because nobody rides it ever.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
Dart gets ridden. Every time I've been on the Dart, there's people.
But this isn't DART.
well,
this
this ain't dark. This is Denton County
transit
Transportation Authority or
DTA
something or
Yeah, I was
But
shocked.
they connect to Dart, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Over at the Josie, not Josie. Right off of 35 by George Bush.
I should just take the Dart rail over here from now on. Just
Dart rail
walk-
don't come over
walk-
here.
It just stops right there.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't it come up?
Dart
to
doesn't come into Denton County, dumbass.
Well, then
Yeah,
I'll
it
hop.
does.
Then I'll hop. Oh no, you know what?
What?
He's
Oh,
right.
no,
It's-
Dart
it's
doesn't,
off
no.
of Hebron. It's off of Hebron. is
Hebron,
where
yeah.
where the interchange is.
Yeah.
You go from Dart to DT.
Yeah, DTA.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways.
Yeah, well, anyway,
besides-
whatever.
And then I don't even know where the nearest DTA stop is because they were petitioning to have it in Lake Dallas, Corinth area, but Lake Dallas said no. But then they later came back. We're like, okay, about that, we're interested
Then
in
what's
doing
the
it.
stop right up over here then?
It's not a stop. That's why they blow right through the damn intersection.
No, I mean, but there's one a little further down, right past Swisher, isn't there? I could have swore I saw one. I guess I'm wrong. I don't know.
With all major
Trying to-
intersections, all major intersections like Swisher and Mayhill and all that, it should have just been elevated like they did with the tray in Irving.
Yep.
Yeah.
Should have been elevated. But no.
Dart's elevated in several
Denton
areas.
County's
know.
got to be under construction all the fucking time.
Well, I mean, Dallas is.
No,
too.
they haven't been in construction in a long time.
Dallas's roads are under.
They're
construction.
about due for some construction and didn't go. They're worried about 380.
Yeah,
That's their big
yeah. They
up in
You
arms.
know how long it's been for it. It's just a 2-lane road forever.
380
So
is
many
Mhm.
wrecks.
biggest nightmare. I stay away from
You
that.
know how
road at
much
all costs.
business when I was at that shop over
Uh-huh.
there in West Frisco? You know how much business came off of 380.
Oh yeah.
People getting in wrecks. All
Oh
the
yeah,
time.
they don't have to go very far.
Total losses left and right. It's the people are
time.
notorious for getting hit, getting pulling out into traffic.
Yep.
Like, what are you trying to risk? Shit.
So
Yeah.
which way did you come, Tara?
I came down 121 and then up 35.
From
So
where?
Oh, that's
where
not
we
too
come from again?
bad.
Where we get
I came down from Bonham, from
Oh,
the
wow.
Bonham
So-
area.
Wait.
Came all the way down
75
121.
Bonham
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
North 75. What?
Hello, Pam.
motion at the
It's not
front. door.
Pam.
Pan Am.
Yeah, it was kind of surreal because I used to live in this area.
Did you
Actually, back when Ashley was born,
Mm.
I
Oh,
lived
yeah.
in this area. So I was driving by and go, when did they get a train? And when did they do this? Because, back during that time, 121 was a 2-lane road, and it was just a goat path. And the only thing on 121 was a brothel. There was a brothel out there back when I was younger.
Somebody at the door.
Yes, that's what I was
So-
saying. There
Probably
was
Kayla.
motion detected at the front door.
Oh, is that what that noise was?
Yeah, it was a doo-doo.
Everybody used to say that you didn't know for sure whether or not that's what it was. But I mean, everybody knew, like, yeah, that house out there with the big brick wall around it, that's a and then the only other place up the road there was an Triple X video store.
Oh yeah, I remember
off
those
of
days.
121 there. So a lot's changed. Yeah.
I think they're trying to get rid of all of those everywhere.
Actually, you know what? I think I know which, because I've been in that area. I used to go to the Colony back in '99, so I used to be up there going down 121.
Oh yeah.
I remember.
Right there, Tara.
What?
Molly
Molly.
says,
Molly. Hey, Molly. Love you too. It's good to see you.
I don't know, Pam. I don't think you're the only one here.
no, Molly's here. Well, we got 5 other people. I don't know.
Yeah, we got
Oh,
5 other people here
okay.
somewhere.
Well, thank y'all for tuning in.
Yeah, they need to say hello. If it's anybody on Tara's side, they need to say hello.
Got a very interesting show this evening.
Right.
Definitely. Well, speaking of, we didn't even introduce Tara. We just we just started talking. And,
Right. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off on the.
You already know us
Swisher.
dumbasses, so yeah.
All right. Without much further ado, Tara, take it away.
Oh, so I get to introduce myself?
Yeah.
Sure.
Ah,
Why not?
awesome. Well,
Go
okay.
ahead.
Well, I'm Tara Woodlee, and what's there to say? I'm right now. I'm the president of the board of directors for a national organization called Break the Silence Against Domestic Violence. I have a smaller organization that's basically what I run out of to do speaking engagements about my daughter Ashley, called the Ashley Patience Project, which is again domestic violence based. Because 10 years ago, the worst thing you can ever happened. I lost my daughter, and I'm a survivor of domestic violence. And when we lost Ashley, we found out that this is like generational. You can go back 100 years in my family, and the things that were done, between abuse and molestation and everything. It's crazy. It set my family up for this tragedy. So that's kind of what I do now. Is I try to bring awareness. I tell my story. I tell her story. I tell my family story. And there's some grace in there. And
Definitely.
it doesn't take away the pain, but if it saves one life, I'm all for it. I'll do whatever it takes. The hell with what anybody else says about what I do.
Amen
So,
to that.
Yeah.
I have to say, definitely with what you're talking about, as far as as you say, it's generational. So that means it's been ingrained in a lot of around, I'd say, your family in general. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you're taking that and doing something to at least make a positive out of it with what you're doing with your work, with the Break the Silence and everything around that. I mean, at least it's coming to a point where you are able to, at least be strong enough to find some light in this,
Right.
and that's really, I can't say enough. That's really admirable, especially when it's a cycle and it's generational, because it's very hard to break the cycle.
Oh, yeah, absolutely it is. Because, like in my family, what we discovered was, back in 1900s, turn century, my grandmother's grandfather, they had like, I think 8 children, and he was very violent with them, and he was violent towards the boys, and he molested all his daughters. And it set off a chain reaction. So like my great grandmother, she was violent and hopped from man to man, and she dropped my grandmother off on her parents' doorstep for her to be raised by them. So then now she's raised by the molester. So it's obvious he molested her, and then when she did see her mother, she beat her, broke her arm once, and those are things in the family history nobody talked about. Nobody talked about. And then it went on from there. He not only did that, but then he molested my grandmother's daughters. So you're talking about my mother, my aunts, their cousins. This man set off a whole chain reaction within our family that we have never been able to totally break free from. And so when I go out talking about this out there, I thought it was something, wow, it's sensational. It sounds sensational, but really it's everyday commonplace.
And that's what we were talking beforehand. Like, somebody came to my work that I work with that, had watched the last show, and, she basically broke her silence.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it's crazy how many people it affects.
No, absolutely. And, I can see from the perspective of you can tell with me, my whole family is a bunch of women who don't take shit from nobody. Seriously, I don't take nobody's crap. Yeah, I just don't. Patrick knows.
I know that. I know for a fact.
Patrick can vouch for that.
Yeah, right. So. But something ingrained in us thought like each generation of women thought we were doing better. We're doing better than our mothers, and we were moving forward, trying to do better for every generation. So, but it wasn't better. We were just switching a different norm. So, my mother did not end up in extreme relationships that had some abuse. I mean, some other family members did, but the difference was she married somebody who was an alcoholic. That brings a whole other,
right.
dynamic into the family, right?
Yep.
And so you have all of that going on. And
so you went from like a physical abuse and sexual to now a mental and,
and emotional. Yeah. And so, they tried to seek help, and, there's no shame in the way things went with my mom. My mom was a very young mother. She was 16 when she got pregnant with me.
Oh, wow.
I'm the oldest of 6. And, to tell you the dynamics of the women in my family, that's in 1968. They kicked her out of school. They tried to. But my grandmother fought to have her finish high school, to go back to school. And they didn't want she went ahead and married my dad, but they didn't want to let her back, a married pregnant woman who had a child, back into high school to finish high school. And my grandmother fought the system and won.
That's awesome.
So
at least you have that family lineage. The good side is that y'all all have fought, and
we're a bunch of fighters. We're a bunch of survivors. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, Jim's on. Hey, Jim. Jim's my husband. Hey, Jim.
Hey, Jim. I kind of gathered that by the last name.
Yeah.
No, I gotta do my Jim impersonation. Hey, Jim. There you go.
Yeah.
Ever since the day,
I almost want him to call in just so I want to hear how good your impression was.
No, it isn't. Jim is definitely that East Texas redneck accent. That's part of why I married him, because he does that thing where he goes.
Ever since the first day I met Jim and Tara. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, you.
You're over there.
His age gets to him sometimes.
Yeah. Ever since I met Jim and Tara, I always went, hey, Jim. Or tell Jim hey for me. Every time I talk to Tara.
That's a horrible country accent.
I'm trying to get deeper than him, but I can't do it.
Jim says you're not tall enough, Patrick.
Yeah,
fair enough.
All right, Jim. Yeah, I know I'm not tall enough. I know you. Just like that on the top of my head. I'm in the ground. Jesus.
Jim's got one of those accents that he does that. hello, darling.
Hello.
You know, like
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the Twitty kind of, you know, hello, darling.
Dirk Spittle.
Yeah.
Hello,
Turn
darling.
the lights
Hello,
down low.
darling. Hello, darling.
So
Now
yeah.
we're all trying to act like Jim or talk like Jim.
So you
And half of us haven't even met him.
Yeah. Wait till you meet the guy.
Oh.
Because the first time I saw him,
Uh-huh.
oh God, that's all I said. Oh God. So you know, and then who was it that? No, I don't want to talk about that.
Was Jim? He's 6'2", right?
Almost, yeah.
Okay.
6'2"?
And you're 5'2.5".
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you gotta get that right. Because
Hey,
Jim and
guess who's in
I,
control? Hey, guess who's in control of their relationship?
Tara.
actually, we have a pretty good mutual relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that dynamite, little small
It's
pack.
the Aries. It's the Aries in her.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Oh.
You know,
That
I have to
explains a lot.
admit, I got a winner with him because he's definitely one of those, you know, men that is like, okay, do what you want with this because this matters more to you, so it doesn't matter as much to me. But if it does matter to him, he lets me know, and I consider it. So I consider it.
Consider it.
But no, actually, I
So tell me the story how y'all met. Since we're
Oh.
on the subject.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
How
Go
we met?
ahead. I don't even
Oh,
know
wait.
that one.
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
Oh, look at
Digging
her.
in the
going,
dirt
I
now.
don't know if I want to say it.
No, I'll tell. Actually, I was married to my ex,
Uh-oh.
and he was married to somebody else.
Uh-huh.
And she had 2 boys from a previous marriage who were the same age as my daughters. And so they played together a lot. And so it was one of those couple things where the kids kind of get together.
Right.
But he ended up divorcing her. And of course, you know how that goes. Once somebody gets a divorce and you're still married, that kind of breaks off that relationship,
Yeah.
right? But
Don't know nothing about that.
yeah. Yeah, but
Uh-huh.
you know, him and I talk a lot about it. You know, there was an attraction even back then. We never acted on it or anything, but yeah, I kind of knew I screwed up when I saw him. I was like, oh wow, you know. So I stayed in my marriage for like 13 years, and then got a divorce. And Jim happened to be, I was a store manager at the mall in Sherman during the time.
Yeah.
And he happened to be going through their Christmas shopping. And we ran into each other, and he goes, hey, I'm still single. I said, hey, I'm single now. And he's like, you want to go get something to eat? And I said, yes.
And the
And
rest was written in the stars.
there you go. Yeah. Well, and my girls knew him.
Uh-huh.
And so
then it was like kind of an easy transition.
yeah, very easy transition. So
It's not like bringing in a stranger. It's like they already had the rapport and everything. So that's
right.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. And I already knew what kind of father he was like. And so it was a lot easier. And it came during a time period where I kind of needed it most.
Uh-huh.
So I figured it was a God thing.
Right.
So, yeah, we've been married 16 years.
Wow. Congratulations.
Good for y'all.
Yeah.
Good for y'all.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for y'all.
Good
So-
stuff.
But yeah, he's been wonderful. He's very supportive of everything I do, and he does it as well because, oh, excuse me, Jim's he's an ex-corrections officer from the state of Texas,
Yeah.
and
That means it's tough. too.
yeah, that's a tough job.
Yeah,
Tough redneck.
Yeah, he's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Redneck and nine.
Yes, and so you know, he used to be on a special riot team, and he also did some behind the scenes work for the Department of Justice on trafficking.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
And that was back in the day before we
Yeah.
got together. And so now that's kind of he's now a truck driver, but he does a lot of stuff that involves trafficking within the within truckers and what they're
yeah,
doing
betcha
and
that's-
stuff. So yeah, it's pretty much he has his area on that of what he finds healing after what we went through with Ashley, and then I have this. So we're very supportive of one another in that area. So, but yeah, I love you, darling. But no, I mean,
So how many year or how long you been with the Break the Silence against domestic violence?
10 years actually.
wow.
Pretty back on the 13th was the 10-year anniversary of Ashley's murder. And I found Break the Silence back just about a month after she had passed on Facebook. And back then it was just a little nothing Facebook type organization. And now it's this big national organization. So
Yep.
you just,
So
you
did it-
never know what plans lay ahead of you, because I sure never expected this was where my life would be at
Well,
this time.
You did
So-
say that you come from a line of fighters.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And to be able to, go through what you've gone through, I mean, you can't and do what you're doing and speak about it. I mean, that takes a strength. So, I mean, that kind of speaks to the lineage of fighters right there. So I totally have to believe that 100%.
Oh yeah, because it's just like I said before, every generation thought they were doing better, but there's still stuff like, my mother ended up, there was a disassociation between her and I, because my grandmother raised me, because she's back in school, and then she went to business school, and kids can feel stuff, they know. And she remarried someone new, and when I was 2 years old, the new husband adopted me, so I didn't know anything about my father. And then all these half siblings come along. They're blonde hair, blue eyed. Here I am, this dark hair, dark eyed little girl, and I look nothing like them. And there was, some disassociation. My mother had her own demons during that time, so she was drinking during that time, and she ended up with a problem with Valium. They prescribed it to her after my sister was born for nerves back there in the 70s, 73, 74, somewhere in there. And my mother came out of that through religion, and so that was a huge transition in my life as to what, went on with me inside that set me up for domestic violence, because she became a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and for a 6-year-old to go from holidays, Christmas, your family, your grandparents, to
Right.
no, all of that's cut out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My dad attempted that. Trust me, I get it.
Yeah, but now that I'm older, I can see that's what saved her. For her, that was her saving grace. That's what
Definitely not a bad thing.
made.
No.
That's
At all.
what made her
that
be
worked,
able to,
Power to it.
heal and deal with her demons. But it brought a whole other set of demons to all the rest of us kids over
Right.
the years.
Wait, you're taking what away from me?
Yeah. So I'm the
no
only
Christmas
kid.
demon.
Yeah, the no
Yeah.
Christmas,
Boy,
no
my head will
presents.
start spinning right now.
Yeah. So there was a lot of my mom was very emotionally. I would say she was emotionally abusive during some of those times, very much so, to the point where I felt, I grew up feeling like I kind of deserved the treatment, because, by the time I'm 11, I find out that the man I thought was my father, he's not, because they're divorcing. And the sheriff comes by to deliver divorce papers and serves her, and she's pregnant at the time with my baby brother. I had 2 sisters, and my mom's pregnant with my baby brother. And I was like, wow, okay.
All
So
right.
I started looking. I was a very smart, inquisitive 11-year-old. I started reading those papers, and that's how I found out he wasn't my father, because he didn't want to pay child support for me any longer. And boy, you want to talk about a hard hit, because I was a daddy's girl at that point. He was the one that, protected me from everything. And now he's sitting there claiming I'm not his.
Man, that's got to be,
Yeah, that's a hard one.
if not worse than the abuse and everything else, like finding that everything else was a false reality.
Oh, yeah.
That's just like mind fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So, it messes with you. And then you have abandonment issues. And I had a high school sweetheart that I intended to marry. We made plans to get married. And, we graduate high school, and we're going to go to college together, get an apartment. And his parents went, whoa, you guys are moving too fast. We want you to take a year break, or we're not paying for his college. They're not paying unless we take a year break. And I didn't imagine he would take the break, and he did. So it just set me into a spiral. That just set me off, and it made me ripe for the man I ended up. I tell people all the time he was my what do you call that, the in between after you break
rebound?
the rebound
Rebound,
guy.
yeah.
He was
Yep.
the rebound guy.
Oh.
I never intended to have a full-on relationship with him, and after a month and a half of dating him, I'm like ready to cut him loose, but I found out I was pregnant. So
I
yeah.
get it.
So
it's almost like history repeating itself.
uh-huh.
I had a very similar situation happen with a high school sweetheart. We weren't on like marriage or anything on that point, but yeah, her parents got involved and were like, "Look, if you don't take a break, we're gonna take away your car. You're not."
Yeah.
I mean, college.
I hate when parents have that power.
It was all kinds of stuff that they were and
Mhm.
I thought our bond was just strong enough, and she'd stand up. And sure enough, which you live at home, it's your parents. I get it, at that age, you're young, and you don't make the greatest decisions. So she caved too, but yeah, needless to say, I didn't end up with the rebound, but
Yeah, I
there was
did.
rebounds in between then and now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, back in the day, it's just like mine.
Kayla, thanks
mine
for the
has-
stars.
Yeah, thanks, Kayla.
Thank you for supporting the show, Kayla.
I don't know.
Good looking out.
Thanks, Kayla. Okay. Anyway,
It sucks it doesn't show up here.
yeah, I know. I would have.
Like if I didn't have my phone up, I wouldn't never know.
Mhm.
I didn't have.
Facebook.
Why don't they tell?
Oh
I
my!
know it's.
I didn't even see it. Anyway,
Yeah.
Because back in the day, back in the 80s, they always my parents. You need to take a break.
Yeah.
You need to take a break. You don't need to be doing this. No,
See,
you
at
don't
least
need
my
to do that.
parents, they never really did that because they knew if they try to tell me something, I'm going to do the opposite.
Of course.
That doesn't deter Liz at all.
But we all-
That doesn't deter your mom.
But Devin, if we did the opposite of what if for me, for instance, if I did the opposite of what my mother asked me to do,
Yeah.
or my dad asked me to do, yeah, it would be even worse. I mean, it would be bad.
What are you eating?
Nothing.
Busted. I
You
can
are
always,
busted.
I can always tell.
Like
Yeah.
either that or he's got some dip. When'd you start dipping, Patrick?
I need more nicotine.
You start eating dinner
Yeah.
before the fucking show is what you need to do.
I know I do.
Get your
Hey,
snacking and shit.
I'm
done
snacking
before
on
the-
crackers, man. Come on. But no, seriously. I mean, it would be worse, especially with me, with my sister.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah.
my sister. I mean, they looked out. Well, they looked out for both of us, but me, it just felt like they didn't care, but they did.
What, your parents?
Yeah.
It
It
feels
does-
that
yeah.
way a lot.
Yeah,
When you
some-
get older, you find out a lot of what you thought was true is not true.
True.
You know?
I know it.
Because I felt because of what went on with my mom in those years and that happening, I just felt like my mom didn't love me. She didn't care about me. She didn't, not as much as my other siblings. They were wanted. I was the unwanted kid and all that. And I've got to say, we had a terrible relationship for a long time, and it was on again, off again. And, oldest kid, you want your parents'
Yeah.
approval.
Yeah.
You really strive for your parents' approval when you're the oldest. And I did a lot of things to try to gain that, and it just didn't seem like it was happening. And I had just kind of come to the realization of this is just the way it's going to be. And then Ashley died. And when Ashley died, something inside my mom, she became the mother I always wanted her to be.
Mhm.
It was really weird dynamic to feel there for a while because I never felt good enough, and I never felt like I had her full attention. And here she was going to every court date with me, to the DA with me, to all these events with me in the beginning, and she never left my side. So, I had to turn around at that time and just let everybody know, don't say anything bad in front of me about mom, because I can't do that now. So her and I, it's still, we agreed to disagree a lot, but, sometimes there is hope that things can change as you get older. Not always, but, with her and I, it did. So
That's good.
I was very blessed on that level because a lot of people don't get that kind of opportunity. And Ashley, I feel like Ashley had her hand on that. So, what else can you do when you lose somebody who's that dynamic in your family? And so it changes everything. And some families, it brings them closer together. My side of the family, it brought people closer together. Jim's side of the family, it seemed to kind of pull us all more apart. So you never know how that's going to happen because families grieve so differently.
Mm-hmm.
And
You have no idea how you're going to grieve if
Yeah.
when you lose a parent or lose a sibling or
Mhm.
a child or whatever.
Oh yeah.
You have no idea.
Yeah, and the pain. I thought I knew pain when I lost my grandparents because they helped raise me. They're like extended parents. But I didn't know pain.
Holly Joe says, "Hey friends, listening in from Colorado Springs. Love you, Miss Tara.
Love you, Holly.
Thank you for tuning in, Holly.
Very cool.
Welcome
very
to the
cool.
show.
Yes, thank you for
Glad to have
hanging
some
out.
listeners out in Colorado.
Yes.
Yeah, Colorado.
Invite your
Is
friends.
it cold
to
or
tune in.
hot? Cold.
Code
Is it cold? I'll talk East Texan like Jim. Is it cold?
is code out
Yeah,
Is it
there.
cold out
that
there?
What are you talking about? That's not East. What is?
That's not East Texas.
I'm just kidding. He knows I'm kidding. He knows me. He knows I'm joking around.
I know you
yeah.
can do a
Tara.
better country's accent than that.
I know, right?
Excuse me.
No, that was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
That, hey,
That
pretty
was
good.
that was
better.
East Texas. Was that East Texas?
That was closer.
Yeah, that was
That was the
closer.
closest impression.
Usually
Yeah.
I come from down around yonder. and
All
all
right, there.
down the-
All right, there.
There,
Patrick,
we go. That's a little better.
Is it cold out there?
Cold.
Is it cold up
It's
there?
cold out there.
Colorado Springs, cold.
Quite
No,
cold.
it's not cold. It's very hot out there right now. I think it's hot everywhere right now.
Yeah, I think literally all of America is in freaking sweat.
Yeah, they
Well, I'm not going to
deal,
say nothing about that. So
they deal up there because like
Biden's fault.
Biden's America.
yeah.
Biden's America.
Oh Lord.
Hey, turn that thermostat all the way up.
Hey man, that thermostat's bad, dude.
Our main offices are
Come
there
on,
in
man.
Colorado Springs.
Are they really?
So yeah.
I was going to ask you that earlier when we were talking about the organization. Is where was it founded and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it was actually founded out in San Diego with the founder who
Oh,
had
okay.
been
Okay.
a survivor of domestic violence, and then she moved out to Colorado Springs, so the organization's headquarters moved out there.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I do a lot of traveling there to Colorado Springs and back because we hold a lot of things that we hold a sister survivor retreats.
Uh-huh.
So these women put in applications, and that's a lot of what
Nice.
Break the Silence does. Break the Silence does we have all across the country a lot of shelters, a lot of crisis centers. There's still not enough. Don't get me wrong, but the government helps finance all of that. And so when we started developing this from just a Facebook presence into an organization, we decided to make the focus on where is the gap. And we decided the gap that we wanted to fill is what we call aftercare. So once someone is out of crisis,
Right.
what do you do to help them?
Mhm.
Where is their support system? So, Break the Silence does things like the sister survivor retreats after you've been out of the crisis for a year and you need support. It's like a support group, and
Right.
people put in their applications. They go to the retreat. We have workshops and everything. It's really great, and they end up during that retreat developing like we call it a sisterhood of people who've been through exactly what they have been through that they can go to and talk
Lean
to and
on,
knows
yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
what they've been through.
Yep.
And so we do things like that, and we do right now we're fundraising for scholarships. We really believe in the scholarship program, so families like mine who have lost somebody, we try to help raise money for the scholarships in memory of our loved one, and then a survivor gets that scholarship. And part of why I love to do that because it gives Ashley a legacy, but also like the statistics are 80% of survivors who end up going back to school and getting their degrees never get back into another abusive relationship. So I like those odds.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really
really
you
cool.
know, so absolutely. So we're currently trying to raise money for that. So anybody who wants to help support that, check it out on the website. Yeah, it's breakthesilencedv.org. And you can go on there and make a donation. So we're trying to raise 22 scholarships every year is what we try to do. Yeah, it's a big benefit. And then we do things like a financial literacy course, because a lot of abuse has financial backgrounds with it. So we do a Grants of Hope program in which we teach financial literacy. And when the women finish those courses, they get $1,000 grant to use towards their finances, so, and then we do a holidays program for kids. So,
really
we're
awesome.
trying to fill that gap, that aftercare gap. So, yeah.
So let me ask you a question. So, we all heard on the news stories, and it's one thing when you hear about it on the news stories. It's another thing hearing from like actually someone who's involved, especially in helping out afterwards. But in the news, we heard during COVID about how domestic abuse just went through the roof because people were isolated together. And did you see also an increase in women reaching out for help during that time as well? Did it coincide?
Oh, yes. COVID brought a whole new reality to that. It shined a spotlight on what we already knew. A lot of times there's isolation involved with abuse.
Right.
And so the isolation is now even stronger. A lot of times the isolation already has them not going to work, because they don't want them to work, or, they keep tabs on them. So it shined a real big spotlight. COVID did, that made it where you could talk about it in the public eye, where normally these kinds of things aren't talked about. But people don't realize, even right now with this economy the way it is, this is just as bad as COVID. When the economy goes bad like this,
money fights,
and everybody stresses, and it's usually.
Yeah.
Can I say it?
Go ahead.
Biden's America.
This is not a political show.
I know.
I agree with this motherfucker.
I'm just saying, that's what it is. I mean, Jimmy Carter, again, I said it before, and I'll let you get back to you, Tara, just a minute.
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter is probably feeling pretty damn good about his administration right now.
Shit, even Nixon might be.
Nixon, yeah. Probably Nixon, you're right.
Hey, what's up, Ashley?
At this point.
Ashley said COVID really did make it more visible. That's a person from my work.
Yeah.
Hello.
Now, as far as the women reaching out to your organization, did that also increase as well, or?
Yeah, nationwide it increased to where shelters were overflowing and people just didn't have any place to go, and then even the shelters were restricted from opening and helping.
Yeah, you got limitation on how many people you have.
Yeah. So it's really crazy. That's why one of the things I do out there is I'm a big advocate for they do this in certain counties and certain states, and Texas actually has a law to do it, but a lot of areas doesn't do it here. But I'm a big proponent for the what they call the ankle monitor system. So if a man gets charged with it, they can put a monitor on him that alerts the woman on the phone if he comes within, a certain limit of that. And you can make it to where he pays for that. But instead of just, sending her to the shelter, which may not have room for her, and her having to be the one to isolate herself,
right? Almost like victim blaming, they gotta
and
suffer the consequences, but it's it's not even their fault.
And until the court determines, if the court determines that she was lying about it or whatever, and they can take the monitor off, but those first 90 days is the worst time for, the murder rate. That's when most of them are murdered, is in those first 90 days of leaving their abuser. So the areas that have used that monitoring system, it's lowered the shelter capacity by 80%, but it has lowered the murder rates in their counties by 90%.
Yeah, that's
wow.
Yeah.
So
and I
obviously it works.
I tell you the truth, even if somebody was lying like that, even if let's say a woman was lying about that, I wouldn't want to be near anybody lying about something like that anyways. So
Right.
bracelet or not. Like, so yeah, no, I wouldn't. If I had to clear my name, absolutely put it on me. I'm not going near her anyways. But yeah, no, that's the murder rate. That's freaking amazing.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of areas who are using it and doing it.
And you
And there's a lot of state legislatures who have seen the need and have put it out there.
Yeah.
But our DAs and our judges and stuff really don't know that it's there.
Right.
And so they don't utilize it to its fullest capacity.
Well, maybe that's that gap that you can fill with your organization.
Well, I've tried.
Especially since you're...
You want to get me started on the political realm? I'll tell you, me personally.
Oh yeah.
Oh, here we go.
There we go.
They're more
We're
worried
not a
about
political show.
Here's
they're more worried about the January 6th than anything else.
Insurrection. Insurrection.
I personally do not consider myself Republican or Democrat.
Wow.
Because
Thank
of what happened to Ashley.
Explain that. Give us the context.
Because I reached out to legislators and I really pushed hard because Ashley had some major gaps in hers that could be corrected with some legislation and some laws. And they just refused to do it. And this is where it just chapped my ass, was that the Democrat side will look at you and go, yo, yes, that's wonderful, we should do that. And they offer you all this stuff and they tell you it's going to happen and you never hear from them again. The Republicans.
Wow.
The Republicans.
No, really?
Hey, Patrick, who's Ken Paxton? Is he Republican or Democrat?
He's Republican. He's the Attorney General for Texas, which he needs to be.
I want to hear the
Out.
Republican.
Yeah, he does.
I
The
don't like. I'm not a
Republicans will
Republican.
Because
look you-
the reason why I have a story about Ken Paxton too. So
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Republicans will look you straight in the face and go, no, I'm not going to do that. That's not really
No.
a big concern for me. I'm more concerned about this, and this, which is all voter base into getting their
reelected.
votes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so it's, I learned very quickly within the first 2 years after she died, it's all an agenda to get votes. They're going to tell you what you want to hear.
Yep, that's politics for you.
They don't really do anything necessary to create any real change. So I still stay on them.
Yeah.
I'm still all over them, believe me. But
Absolutely.
But if I can't come at it one way, I'm going to tackle it.
Hell yeah.
So
when one door closes, you got to sometimes just kick another, kick a few of them
They're
open.
political parties, two wings of the same shitbird.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So I personally
crow.
kind of consider myself, I wouldn't say I'm a libertarian, but I tend to lean more towards that live and let live kind of thing.
Yep.
But I don't like either party. They can go to hell, both of them.
Right.
Amen.
Live and let live, and just
Finally, somebody that understands Patrick.
and leave me alone. That's what I live and let
What?
live.
Somebody
and
that
leave me alone.
understands Patrick? Okay.
No,
cool.
nobody understands you.
Oh, I thought you said this.
Especially
No,
when
there
you're
was a
trying to
comma.
read news
There was a
stories.
comma.
Oh, okay.
You didn't
All
see
right.
the comma.
Well,
Patrick.
like a Republican, I switched that around.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Ashley says yes. Politics stink all around.
Well, it's really
So do
like
politicians.
it's really like being in another abusive relationship because they promise you these things and they promise you change,
Yeah.
but there is no real change.
Oh, yeah.
And they abuse the system and they abuse the people in it with these promises. It's really like being in another abusive relationship and they gaslight you. And I can't even.
Yeah, like
when do we get to break
you
the
said
abusive
gaslight.
cycle of shitty presidents?
Right?
Like, no
Okay.
relief.
Kayla said that she personally saw the monitor court ordered in Louisiana. So she's actually seen the ankle bracelet thing you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
In Louisiana, which is surprising.
Yeah. I know they do it down in Corpus Christi. There's a real good
Oh, really?
one down there. Almost all of the state of Massachusetts has gone to that.
Massachusetts?
Yes.
The word Patrick can't ever
There's
say.
a word I can't say, so I'll just go ahead and say Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Sue Horton from says hello from Bois de Arc.
What
Hey, Sue,
Juan
how you
Arc?
doing?
where's she
know
watching
Sue?
from?
I know Sue.
Okay.
Where's she watching from?
Where's she?
Bois de Arc.
No, I mean
Oh,
Facebook?
platform?
Yeah.
Facebook, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, not coming up.
Boys the Ark. Where's that at? Is that in Texas?
Everybody's on the Facebook, the frustration page right
weird
now.
as fuck.
Nobody's on the other
Yeah.
platforms right now.
For some reason,
Not Twitch.
That's weird. It's
No,
not
no
coming up.
Twitchverse.
Ah,
Aw.
Oh,
wanna
you didn't
know-
get
I
on
wanna
there to
know.
call out your
Patrick.
favorite listener, Patrick?
I want to know who that Twitch person is.
Well, obviously they left because you alienated them. They didn't want
Right.
to say hi.
They got scared. Now
We've
they
had
don't.
one anonymous person
Oh, I
following
know.
us
For like
Calls him
100 plus
Pat.
shows.
Yeah, somebody from back in the day with him
And it
who
drives
stuck
him
in there.
nuts.
I
Yeah,
know.
right.
Well,
Whatever.
One day you'll figure it out, Patrick.
Maybe.
So how do y'all know each other, you and Pat?
Now that's another interesting story.
Easton Dallas.
I don't mean to
my
squirrel.
God,
I don't mean
dude,
to
we
squirrel,
had to
but
talk
No.
about that.
About what?
No,
Hey, you know what?
I want
It
to know
was
how they
great.
met.
It was-
how they know each other.
It was
Yeah,
great.
yeah, I want to hear that.
It was great. It was excellent meeting you and Jim. It really, really
well,
was.
we were set up through. Oh my goodness, what is her name? Because she's passed
Elizabeth
away.
Fuller.
Yes, Elizabeth Fuller.
She
so
what?
Elizabeth, yeah. I think Elizabeth passed, didn't she?
No,
No?
I don't think she did.
Oh, okay.
If she did, that's a shock to me.
Okay, I'll have to check. I'll
Okay.
check on Facebook,
All right.
but
Fact check.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, well,
fact check that.
Hopefully she's
well,
not dead.
Audience, go
Uh,
fact check that.
yeah, look on
But-
Facebook.
Elizabeth Fuller had a daughter who went to school with my daughters.
So you
Emily, right?
Emily,
Mhm.
Emily.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
so y'all became friends later in life, you two.
Yeah, later.
right
okay.
shortly after
Yeah, so
Ashley
we've been
had
friends
passed.
10 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Elizabeth said, "Hey, I know this guy, and you need to tell him Ashley's story." And we got together, and he was working. Who were you working with?
Oh
back
my
then?
God!
Or
It-
should we
If he listens,
nameless?
if he listens, I would love to say his name, Joey fucking Edwards.
Yeah.
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 His
and,
middle name's fucking.
Joey
Uh,
fucking Edwards.
That's
no,
crazy.
but
Hey,
I added that in
JFE.
there.
Yeah,
ahead.
Joey. That's right, Joey.
Edwards.
Yeah, they were going to do the documentary on Ashley's story, and
I was getting it all together. I was
Uh-huh.
working on it. Me and Tara was
Yeah,
going back and forth.
there was news broadcasts and
Yeah.
everything about it.
Yeah,
and,
Meredith Humans,
Yeah.
that used to work up at Denison. Now she works at Channel 5.
Uh-huh.
Meredith, who else? I got a letter from Governor Perry.
yeah,
Yeah,
Wow.
from Rick
yeah,
Perry.
we were working on it really hard. And
Yeah,
then,
we were.
Like him better than that.
And then, yeah, he was something
do too.
else because that SOB. Yeah,
You can call me anything you want on this show. Go ahead.
Which one?
he had
Nothing's off
Patrick.
limits.
Do you remember this? Okay, so Ashley had passed, and we were working on all of that hot and heavy, and working towards that.
That was
and
like
then-
even a couple months after
yeah,
Ashley
and
got.
then my oldest daughter Rachel got married after Ashley had passed. Ashley passed in July, and Rachel got married like the 2nd of March. And I
remember
ended
that.
up in a car accident on my daughter's wedding day. I mean, a major car accident.
Oh,
It was
I
not.
remember that too.
And
On the way to the actual event?
Yes, actual
Oh.
to yeah. I was in a hurry, and I catered her whole wedding. I cooked all the food
Oh,
for like
sh-
150
Did you have all the food in the
people.
car too?
No, it was already there.
Okay, good. I was like, that's
But
going to be
I
a
had-
mess.
I had gotten dressed and was on my way to her to help her dress.
Right.
And of course, we're way out in the country on those
Uh-huh.
gravel roads, and I was speeding way too fast,
Uh-huh.
and the car fishtailed. And when it fishtailed, I did the exact wrong thing and turned the wrong way into it.
Wasn't that like on gravel?
Oh,
was
yeah.
it gravel or was it wet?
It was gravel. It was not wet.
Oh, okay. okay.
It was gravel, and I spun. I'm not kidding, like 7 times around. And I took my hand off the wheel and went, "Oh my god,
So
please
I
stop."
remember. Hold on, Andy. I remember that call too.
Yeah. And so when the car finally, both sides of the road, it came off the road, but both sides of the road had these big embankments with a ditch,
Drainage.
and
ditch,
and it came off of there, and it hit that, and the car hit that embankment. And when it did, I did, a Die Hard move. I ain't kidding you. The car came up and did that barrel roll going forward.
yeah.
I
Did you end
was-
up on the roof, or did it stay on?
Oh, it went around twice
Uh-huh.
and landed upside down.
So you were on the roof whenever it landed.
Well, I was in my seatbelt.
Well, yeah.
yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there too.
So, and I
Unbuckle the seatbelt and
I tell this
Right.
story all the time about, my daughter, because I literally was like, I was on the phone with my mother going, I'm going to be there in a minute. And then it spun out. And I literally, I believe in the afterlife, and this is one of the reasons why. One of them, I have many stories, but
But we got time.
when the car hit that embankment and
Uh-huh.
started to roll, I saw something out of the corner of my eye in the passenger seat.
Mhm.
So I turned my head,
Mhm.
and there was Ashley
Oh wow.
in the seat. She was right there, and when I turned my head, what it did was, I was coming forward,
Mhm.
and the windshield had busted out coming forward to me. So when I turned my head,
Mhm.
the windshield did not end up touching me. My head ended up hitting the side of my head hit the visor instead. And the officer said if I wouldn't have turned my head at that moment, I would have been face first into that windshield because the windshield busted out inward towards
Divine
me.
intervention.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm.
And
Yep.
I still remember in detail to this day when the car was spinning like floor mats, CDs. You don't have that anymore,
CDs.
but
Cassette
CDs.
tapes.
Yep.
Hey,
Tracks,
I have a
shit.
CD player in my
Uh-huh.
car.
I
Yeah.
still have one.
I do
Yeah,
too.
I remember
It's
all
now
the stuff.
converted to a phone holder.
All the
mine
stuff
too.
floating around me, but it never touched me.
That's crazy.
And when I landed upside down, I was like, oh, dear Lord. And I immediately had enough wherewithal to unbuckle myself and turn off the engine.
Mm.
But I had a moonroof in that car and it's all busted out.
Yep.
And the passenger side was collapsed clear down to the headrest. And the driver's side was up against that embankment and I couldn't get out that way. And my cousin happened to drive down the road at that time.
Oh wow.
And I was waving my hand out the window and he saw me and he got out and
Holy crap.
yeah, I was like all kinds of like out of it. And he's like trying to help me out of the car. And I'm like, okay, I need one of my shoes had come off even. I was like, I need my shoe, I need my purse, and I need my phone. And as I'm trying to crawl out the back window of that back passenger side, there was my shoe, my phone, and my purse, like they've been sat there, you know.
Like, here, Mom, I'll help
It's
you out.
okay, I got this, Mom. I got this,
And
Mom.
I was like, wow, okay. And then the really crazy thing was I had a keychain with her picture on it and I thought it was lost. And we went back to the site and I went looking for it and I couldn't find it. And then 3 days later, I start rummaging through my purse. That picture was inside my purse.
Wow.
I do not know how that got there like that.
That's crazy.
But it broke off.
Uh-huh.
And it somehow landed inside my purse and
That was all nice
of
and
that.
neatly stacked.
Yeah, it
Organized.
was really weird. And I'm
Yeah.
sitting there going at the wedding going, I saw Ashley. And everybody's like, dude.
Yeah.
What do you want? What
We
kind of
bet-
stuff? You got any extra?
We bet you did
Yeah, right.
because like it was crazy. It was
Yeah.
really crazy. But I believe she was there for that purpose to get me there and get me to Rachel so we could have her wedding.
Right.
You know, and her wedding not be ruined.
Yeah,
with me
I
taking
remember
an
that.
ER trip.
I really
But
do.
anyway, back to Joey.
Yeah.
Joey decided that night
Mhm.
he didn't want to do the documentary anymore.
Wait, the night of the wedding?
And he made Patrick call me at 11 o'clock at night
After
Mhm.
you've been in the wreck?
Oh.
on my daughter's wedding day.
Yeah.
Fuck some shit up.
Insults. Hey, everything happens in threes.
Mhm.
So Joey, if you're listening, fuck you. How about that?
I want to hear this.
I'll be glad to talk to you. I'll be glad to see you. But you know what? You wouldn't last very long with me right now. I'll tell you that.
I'd be glad to hear the story. Hold on just a second.
Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead, Terry.
Please.
Yeah. So we tried.
I had to say
Carry
that.
on.
Sorry.
We tried with another group and it just ended up not happening. But you know, it kind of ended up being a blessing in disguise because like, you know, her story ended up being told on Investigation Discovery.
Yeah.
So it's out there, you know, for the world to see.
So now, the night he called you, was that the first time y'all met, or have y'all already
No.
been like a working relationship?
Yeah,
up
we'd
until-
had a working relationship for months.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were
Okay.
working together for like 6 months
So
at that point.
Okay, so that's how we were working on the production of the documentary.
Oh,
Yeah, we're
Okay.
working on
Okay.
everything.
So as
Yeah.
far as timeline, Patrick, how long till the calamity and then I met her? And then you talked to me about it.
Probably about a year, maybe.
Okay.
I think something like
Maybe,
that.
yeah.
Maybe a year.
Nice.
Yeah, because we kept going. We kept trying. We kept trying to kickstart it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
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 Jumpstart, kickstart,
Jumpstart,
same
or
sandwich,
whatever,
same
whatever.
sandwich. It's all
Everybody
the
knows
same,
what I'm talking
same
about.
sandwich, different
Mhm.
bologna.
But we kept trying to do it and kept trying to do it and kept trying to do it, and then with
Jim's
the
comment.
with the group with New Hope at the time, we had agreed to go ahead and do it with the group. I don't want to name the names.
No, don't.
No,
They
because
may
because
remain nameless.
yeah,
so
well,
yeah.
because I mean they're not those people. They're not bad.
No,
They're not. So
no, but Joey was an a-hole. I mean, he was an asshole galore. So
there you go. Say asshole.
yeah.
So whatever.
Asshole. Yeah, we are.
Maybe
It is
Brittany's
this show.
maybe Brittany Winkle's watching too, and she can, go run off to Joey and say, "Hey, you know what? Patrick and Tara called you an asshole." Oh, really? So whatever. I would like to have a little chat with that little motherfucker.
Jim said he'd like to have a chat with him too.
Yeah, I know.
He'd
I know.
be on a ride along with you.
I don't even have to look at the screen, and I know Jim would love to have a little chat with that little.
Yeah, Jim said, "Take me along." Yeah.
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 Take his little fucking braces off by pliers.
All right, all right.
Well.
Okay.
This is where we
Anyway.
stop self-incriminating. This is
Right.
where we
No,
stop.
I'm not self-incriminating. No, I'm serious. If you two knew this guy, y'all would just looking at him would you two would just want to just beat his ass just for the hell of
Like,
it.
dude, you got any pliers? I want to rip that bitch's brace.
Yeah, right
Take him off right off his fucking
My
teeth.
first
Anyway,
reaction.
Kayla, how do you feel about that with
Who does
working
that
in the dental
kinda-
field?
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not an orthodontist. But go ahead.
it gives her more work to do. So anyway, but I mean, did I just get a text message? I did.
Squirrel.
Squirrel.
Yeah. So anyway,
Shit.
Have another cracker.
the people with New Hope,
Name Pat or Polly?
we had agreed to
Patty
do
wasn't cracker.
Ashley Patience,
Yeah.
Ashley Patience project. We were really, 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 really wanting to do that, but after Calamity was shot, that's when we all decided just to kind of just
Yeah.
split apart. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Even though Calamity was about my dad, I don't want to get into that one. This is about you and Ashley. So, yeah, I wanted to do that with
There you go.
the rest of the New Hope people,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't get them on board
Right.
because of the fact of what happened with Calamity.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
And
like
then
I said, it
I
ended up.
met this little punk right here.
Oh yeah, I know it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
Wait,
yeah.
wait.
She knew you before you even met her.
Really?
He's like this.
Oh, yeah.
He,
Oh shit!
He's saying little.
Do tell.
punk. Obviously, we're not talking about physical stature here.
Yeah,
Then he met this other little punk like a year ago.
but no, I mean, it's just, I mean, Tara knew you before you even met her, or she even met you.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick.
Your
was-
reputation
Patrick
precedes
I
was-
know. I'm like, wait, is this good or is this bad? Like, no, I need to know.
You're everything. I
Patrick-
You're about to
expected.
find out.
Awesome.
Yeah, Patrick was a huge support system for me at that time. I mean, we talked weekly. It's
Oh, we talked 2, 3, 4
yeah,
hours.
Yeah,
We would.
yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. I mean, just about anything.
Yeah.
About shit. I mean,
A lot of times about your parents and Ashley. We talked a lot about that.
Oh, yeah.
Afterlife and different things.
but see, she helped me through a lot of shit that I was going through with that.
Here we go again. Incriminating.
That situation that I was in,
yeah,
where she almost literally fucking killed me. So
Holy shit!
she knows.
Defamation.
Mhm.
She knows almost everything of.
I told him to
Fucking
pull his
out.
head out of his ass, and he did.
Yeah.
Patrick's a good listener.
Yeah.
I've noticed that he's a good shoulder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so.
I guess so.
Just not to you, man. You're an asshole.
You're salty.
But
as
you know
fuck.
what? I'm not gonna. But I'm not gonna rank you up there with Joey Edwards. That'd be bad.
Oh no,
No,
no.
he's nothing like Edwards. So you know.
Yeah, it
but-
takes a special kind of
He
someone
he
to do
says
that, kind
that,
of crap
but
to
deep
people.
down he loves me.
Oh yeah.
No, I don't.
I tell him
Love-hate
to his
relationship.
face. I'm like, I love you.
It's a
man.
love-hate relationship over here.
I love him. He hates me.
Oh, Kayla. Okay, I love you too, Kayla.
Until you start talking about her karaoke.
Yeah, until she starts singing. Then he's like,
I
I hate you.
See how we say it at the same
Yep.
time?
Yeah.
I don't like your singing, so please stop. You're making my ears bleed.
You just
So
keep
anyway.
singing, Kayla. You just sing your heart out,
Oh,
honey.
she does.
Oh, yeah, she does.
She absolutely does.
I don't care what they say.
But
They
anyway.
they can get some earplugs.
I could.
That's what you get them.
Now
for
we just turned it
Christmas,
up
some
louder.
earplugs.
Drown
That's
her
why
out.
I got my bows. So
Oh, don't
No.
get me started on those fuckers.
no, fuck you.
Right?
Okay, so
We were about to duke it out in the studio the other night. Sunday.
yeah,
Oh,
really,
Lord.
yeah. Okay, anyway, go
They're
ahead.
having a conversation with the fucking TV because this asshole's got his earbuds in. And Andy and I are like trying to talk to him.
We don't even know that he's really got them in. We thought he has one in. We're sitting here talking like about pertinent stuff for the show, and we're like, "What do you think, Patrick?" And he's like,
Exactly.
and we're like, "Patrick."
Patrick will tune out.
He's
He
got
will.
them bitches so
And I
loud.
literally
yelled at him.
I was like, Patrick, I'm gonna throw something at you, and I like lifted something up, and he ducks in his chair.
It took him getting up and coming over here.
I did.
like,
I had to get up from the chair. I was like, motherfucker,
you motherfucker.
I'm about to rip those things out your ear.
All right, so go ahead, tell her about the rest of the story.
Carry on.
Which part of the story? Where are we now?
Yeah,
Where do you want me to go to?
We went off
For
of
New Hope.
killing fucking Joe here.
Oh,
so-
New Hope. Yeah, there's some great people. I'm still in contact with them. Oh yeah. He called during that wedding and tried to cancel, but Patrick, he stayed with it, and we tried real hard for a long time, but it just. Patrick ended up having, heart attacks and all the health problems, and so just
shit.
kind of let it go. But
Fucking health, man.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Investigation Discovery picked it up. I mean, out there, if you want to look it up, it was on My Worst Nightmare, and the episode's called Cruel Intentions. Look up Ashley's story on that. Yeah, it's a great show. Of course, it compacted her story and everything that happened. And for the most part, I mean, I'm very pleased with it. There's a few things that always happens when somebody does something like that. Some things they change for TV, like the order of kind of how it happened. But it was nothing really that hurt the integrity of her story. So I was pretty pleased with it. I was pleased with the fact that they didn't make it so graphic. They did more implied, things that happened,
Right.
which I don't have a problem talking about that. But, kind of seeing it, I was wondering, how graphic is this going to be? So it wasn't, they did a really fine job on it, I have to say.
Because I would have made it. I would have made it exactly the way that it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would have been okay with that.
reenactment.
Yeah, I know.
Because the reality of it is ugly.
Of course it is.
And
We
what I
wanna-
live with in my head, I mean, so people know out there, like Ashley's story. I mean, this guy she met.
I was gonna say, do you want to get into it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I was like,
This guy she
perfect
met,
opportunity. Yeah.
Josh. She was working at a call center.
Is it McCaffrey or McAfee?
McAfee.
McAfee, that's
Yeah.
it. All right.
McAfee. No C. McAfee.
McAfee,
McAfee.
Yeah.
Okay.
little fucker.
Yeah. He Ashley started working at a call center, and the first person she met within the call center was actually a man named Josh Scott. And Josh Scott is Joshua's best friend. So in order to keep people from being confused, because there's two Joshes, I always call the roommate the best friend Scott by his last name, because it's just much easier to deal with than trying to explain which Josh is which.
Fair enough.
So Scott is the one who introduced them at a party, and she started dating him, and she's bringing them home within about 4 weeks to meet us. And I tell you what, Jim was the one who pegged him right off the bat.
Jim, what was your analysis? I want to hear it or see it. We'll give you some time to type it all out.
Yeah.
No.
She
Or you can call in. Yeah.
she asked her dad, what do you think of him? And he said, run. He said, run. And so he sensed something right away that, where, her sister and I are kind of like, oh, well, we just met him. But I mean, not to sound bad, but I mean, he's 29 years old and Ashley was, 19, almost 20.
Oh,
and
shit.
and
Okay.
he'd been married a couple times before, and this young man showed up at my door wearing pink toe socks. And I thought,
Wait, what,
you're weird.
what are toe socks?
Toe socks, those socks that have
They
the
have
end,
toes.
Oh, they actually have.
like
Yeah.
toes.
Yeah,
Yes.
like the toe shoes.
What a
Yes.
punk,
Was he wearing
man.
sandals?
Yeah.
Were they
Oh, God.
slip? Were they
pink
slide
toe
ons? Or were
socks.
they
They thongs.
were they Jerusalem cruisers?
Dongs.
They're cold.
I don't know. I don't
Ugh.
remember.
Or were they
but I
chocolates?
remember.
But you're right. The pink. I've already
pink
red
toe
flags.
socks.
Divorced. It's already red
Yeah,
flags.
and I was
Wait,
like,
divorce. Wait, what?
She said he'd been divorced twice, right?
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
twice?
Already?
Oh, damn. I missed that.
Like
I
if
didn't
you-
know that.
I
didn't
missed
know
that. I was like,
part.
totally that
Yeah,
part.
he'd
I
been divorced twice, and
by 29.
At 29?
Red flag. Red
Yeah.
flag, man.
That's a whole bag of red flags. It's not just
Right.
one or two.
so
Yeah.
we're just like, oh, okay. And this is just after Thanksgiving, near
I'm
her
s-
birthday, and
God.
Christmas rolls around, and of course she wanted to invite him to Christmas, and we
Uh-huh.
invited him, bought him a present. We're trying to get to know him, and after Christmas is all over, she announces she's packing a bag and she's moving in with him that day.
Oh, God.
And I went, what? No.
Say what?
I know.
Oh, we don't play that.
Wait. What?
So how did they meet again?
Through Scott. Scott
At wo-
introducced him.
At work?
Yeah, through
Yeah, the
Josh
guy
Scott.
at
Okay.
Not
work.
worked. Yeah.
I'm just-
And he invited her to a party in which he
Okay.
introduced her to Josh.
Now, how long had they been, quote unquote, dating before she hit you all with this news on Christmas? Like,
A month.
Yeah, because she said Thanksgiving, so.
Yeah, you're talking about like 6 weeks. They had known each
I
other.
was trying to put like Thanksgiving the year before or something.
No,
or like,
No.
oh,
only 6
shit.
weeks.
Holy.
Not even 6 months, 6 weeks. That's,
Holy
yeah.
poop.
Yeah, and see,
Oh
you got to
my
understand,
God.
like, I have the 2 daughters. Rachel's older, and they're almost 3 years apart.
Right.
And Rachel's my very sweet, kind of docile, kind of, if you think somebody is going to be taken advantage of, it would be Rachel. So I used to like watch her like a hawk. Ashley was the kid that was like, no, he called me a bitch. Or no, he told me what to wear. So bye, see you later. And so, the abuse I experienced at the hands of her biological father, we just, again, family, you don't talk
Mhm.
about it. And they went through all that with me, so I didn't think I had to talk about it.
So on that note, they say that, women go after guys that are similar to their father. And,
Oh, yeah.
and so being that the father was abusive, so she basically had a magnet for all intents and purposes.
Oh, yeah. My mother calls Josh her biological father on steroids. Because everything, my ex,
Like
everything
amplified.
moved a little slower. It was more like whenever he was drunk or on a holiday or there was some kind of argument. It wasn't like consistent. It was consistent through the years, but it wasn't like an every
An
every
ongoing,
day.
everyday type.
Every day was an emotional abusive situation with him, not a physical one.
Right.
But Josh, oh no, it was another matter. And so when she moved in with him, from what I understand, it escalated pretty quick. And Scott lived with them. He was a roommate. So Scott was there through it. And so, Christmas, she moved in with him. And, by January, I'm kind of suspecting something because she's starting to contact me going, oh my, we still had her on our phone plan. We bought her phone. She called me every day we talked. And
This guy
I lost my phone. And then a couple weeks later, the phone broke. Had to have another phone. And so that was the first, I was kind of like, something's not right here. And so we're rolling into February and then in March. And, on St. Patrick's Day, my birthday is March 21st. Josh's birthday is March 21st as well. So we share a birthday. And, well, that's a hard one. Share a birthday with your daughter's murderer.
Yeah.
That is not fun.
Yeah.
I would not recommend that. I mean, it is not. But anyway, so St. Patrick's Day was on the weekend and the birthday was in the middle of the week. So what I wanted for my birthday was my children, which both daughters were dating, and their boyfriends to come to dinner and celebrate. And we did dinner and, had green beer and, went bowling. We went bowling, and Josh proposed to her at the bowling alley. And I was just like, oh, man.
And this is the same 4 or 5 month period, right?
Yeah.
Talk about moving fast.
Yes.
So they're living together. They're working together.
No, he's
No, he wasn't the one working.
She worked with the
other
roommate.
Scott.
Okay.
Yes.
Scott.
What did this guy have a job?
No, not at the time.
Oh my God.
Another red flag.
Yep.
Fuck.
No,
I mean,
he had a house.
Who would give a job to somebody with pink toe socks?
There you go.
I mean, fuck.
He had a house that was his parents' that he inherited when his father died.
The fuck?
But
So was he a trust fund baby?
pretty well. There wasn't a lot of money. I mean, it was just a mobile home.
Oh, okay. Well, you said house, and I'm thinking like I wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
That's
just a
a little
single
different.
wide mobile
Okay,
home
okay,
on
okay.
lakefront property. It was
Oh.
up there at Lake Texoma.
That's lakefront property is nice.
Bro.
Yeah.
Look down the street, the nicest lots, trailer park, and the trailer park looks like hell.
Yeah, it's one of those
They have the best lot. Like if you actually drive through there, you look
community
out, you're
like
like,
that.
Yeah.
why the fuck do they get the
Hold
best lot?
on a second,
What?
Tara. I thought about the same thing that you thought about
What's
one
that?
day.
What's that?
I'm not going to say it on there.
Oh,
man.
okay, we'll talk about it off air.
Just drip a certain liquid onto the road, and then just.
No, we're not talking about.
Oh,
Yes,
go
we
ahead,
need to
Tara,
talk to
sorry.
get the cameras off y'all while y'all do the motion of what you want to do.
Lord.
No, I was
Jesus.
like this, man. It just went like that.
That's light it all.
I
He
don't
was
know
eating
what
the candy bar. He was throwing away the wrapper. Okay.
Yes, that's right. He was littering, okay?
He was littering.
Oh man.
He's like, fuck Texas.
Yeah, I was littering. I
Anyway.
messed with
Oh.
Texas.
You wouldn't
Oh,
notice in that place
uh-oh.
anyway.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God.
All right, go ahead, Tara. Sorry,
Anyway,
sorry.
even though we live in Texas, he's in Oklahoma over there on Lake Texoma. And
On the Oklahoma side, I'm guessing.
yes,
Okay.
yes. And so, we're like, okay, and trying to be happy, but birthday rolls around at 10:30 at night. I get a phone call, and she is crying her eyes out. She's locked herself in a bathroom, and she's drunk.
Oh.
And she's at some friend's house at a party, but she doesn't know the address. She doesn't know where they are. She can't tell me how to get to her. And she's crying because he put a cigarette out in her face.
Mm.
And you want to talk about a feeling
yeah.
of total
Oh, man.
uselessness, like I couldn't do a damn thing. And I'm trying to figure out where she is.
Mhm.
Trying to figure out how to call police and get them to her.
Yeah.
And this SOB had the balls to call me. And the other line is ringing. And I'm like, Ashley, Josh is calling me. And she's like, oh, Mom. And I'm like, listen, just stay there with your phone. I'm going to talk to him.
Or
'Cause
hang
I'm
up
thinking-
at fucking 911.
I'm thinking
They could triangulate where the call's coming from.
not out there in that area. Yeah. And so I was like, well, maybe I can get something out of him that would be useful. So get him on the phone. And he's like, I don't know what she's telling you. I said, she's telling me you put a cigarette out in her face, you motherfucker. That's what she's telling me. And he's like, no, we were drunk. We're shooting pool. We're playing games. We're at this friend's house. And I just flicked my cigarette at her and it hit her on accident. It was an accident. It's an accident.
Yeah.
And
Why would you be flicking a cigarette, first of all, in somebody's direction or period?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then he had the balls to put Scott on the phone and Scott lied for him. Saying, yeah, we're just too drunk. It's okay. Everything's okay. Don't worry. We just need your help talking her down and out of the bathroom. And I'm like, I'm going to kill somebody up in here, and I'm
in here?
I was like,
I can only imagine what kind of thoughts are racing through.
So I hang up with him and I call Ashley back. And by this time, she's singing the same tune. No, Mom, we're drunk. I've overstated
manipulated.
this. because he went back to talk to her while Scott kept me busy. Right.
Yep.
And it's okay. Everything's okay. It's just a misunderstanding. And so I did one of these, of course, control freak mom who, has been in abuse, went, fine, but, it's a Wednesday. You be at my house Friday with him. You're going to be at my house. I want to see you.
Fuck, man.
I want to see you. Yes, we will be there. We will be there. Little did I know when she hung up that phone with me and she opened that bathroom door, he busted in, grabbed her by the head and by the hair and shoved her head all the way through the wall, both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
In that bathroom. And the friends were all starting to there was 6 of them there. We're going to call the cops and stuff. No, he took up all their phones.
Yeah, I'd like to see that motherfucker try to do that to me if I saw that shit.
Yeah, he took their phones and then
He'd be underneath my well, sorry.
Well,
yeah, and then he took a penknife and started stabbing himself, saying he was going to kill himself because
go
he
ahead.
felt so bad. Right?
Sorry,
Yeah.
And
Go
Ashley's
ahead.
feeling bad, and he takes Ashley, and him and Scott leave. And then when they left, the homeowner, the friend who was the homeowner, called the police, but she didn't know their address or where exactly they were, and the police said they couldn't do nothing.
Mm.
So that Friday rolls around, she shows up with that cigarette burn, and we're doing a divide and conquer, Jim and I. Jim's talking to him out in the yard while he's working on the truck, and Jim will tell people I should have killed that son of a bitch then, because he thought about it.
Yeah.
Seriously, he thought about it.
I'm surprised he didn't beat his ass. I don't
Yeah.
Right?
know.
But
then
since the police ain't going to show up.
the thing is it's like woulda, coulda, shoulda. This,
Yeah.
Like, hold on, can you help me with this part of the engine? I need somebody to hold a flashlight. Boom!
Yeah.
we can all speculate
Hell
about
yeah, I hit him in the part of the head that makes him
that does.
die. Just that.
We can all speculate about what we would have done, but
Oh, yeah.
unless we're there, we don't know.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
you got a daughter in
Hindsight's
there.
20/20.
Yeah,
Yeah.
who's towing the line on her story, and I'm like, look, the abuse I suffered. You are not putting yourself in that situation. No, Mom, no, I'm not. And we're like, okay, and Jim's threatening him, boy, if I find out something else goes on, you're dead. You're dead meat. Don't lay your hands on her. And so that's that. And so we're rolling around into April, and we're planning a wedding, and she finds out she's pregnant.
Mm.
And I'm like, why are you pregnant? Well, Josh wanted to be pregnant, and he took my birth control from me. And I'm like, what? He did what?
Oh, yet another red flag.
Yeah.
Audria says, so many red flags. Yes, you have no idea.
Yeah. So,
and ladies, please pay attention to this.
Oh, yeah.
Listen to these red flags.
Oh, yeah. So, and Mom's out there too, because let me tell you, and I knew the flags because I had been through it. And I'm like, no, this is not adding up. This is not happening. So we're trying to talk to her and convince her, and things are starting to really escalate. He broke out her windshield in her truck, and he's using all these excuses of, he had an altercation when he was 18 years old with another young man where they got into a fight, and this guy hit him in the head with a pipe. Well, this is a story Josh told us, at least, and it was confirmed with his mother and everything, but he hit him so hard that he had to learn how to walk and talk again, and had to have a plate up in his head, but he had seizures. So he manipulated Ashley with that. I'm ill. I'm having seizures. I don't remember hitting you. I don't remember saying those things to you. I'll quit drinking so that this won't happen anymore. I'll get on medication. And she's buying it because she's scared, because those were her words. And I'm scared because I know I'm up over my head, at this point. And so we were just like,
how old was she at this time?
She had turned 20 back in December.
Okay.
So
was she in any long-term or serious relationships before that?
No.
So this was okay.
This was all new for her.
Okay.
It was her first real serious
Plus,
relationship.
he's older.
And he's
Well,
older.
yeah.
Mhm. And so, stories aren't adding up. And I know something's happening. And I'm just, by Mother's Day, she came home and admitted to what was happening. He'd been slapping her, hitting her, putting her head through walls, doing all of this. She was concerned for the baby. She had left him and come home. And we were like, yes, we will get you whatever help you need, whatever you want to do. And of course, he's continuously trying to contact her. And so he does one of these things where, she came home like that Sunday. And Friday rolls around and he calls me because she's not answering. He calls me and he goes, I just want to come over and talk with you and Jim about what is happening and what's going on and just resolve this because Ashley's a liar. She says all of this about you and about her dad and that you guys do all these things to her and you're the ones who are abusive. And she's such a liar and you don't need to trust her. I've got recordings of her saying things and I've got recordings of her lies. And I want you to listen. I want to come over and share this with you and Jim. And Jim was truck driver on the road during that time and he was not home and he wasn't going to be home that night. And I told him, no, you're not allowed over here. And Jim's like, calling on another line and he's like, you tell him if he wants to come over and talk to me, I'll talk to him, but he don't need to be there with y'all. And so I tell Josh that and I hung up and all of a sudden I get this text message that's like a voice recording. And in the voice recording, it's him yelling at her going, just admit you said that about your father, that admit that you think he has, sexual tendencies towards you. Admit it, just admit it. And she's like, no, I won't say it. And it's not true. And he's like, just say it. And then you can hear him slap her.
Oh, ooh. And this guy sent you that recording?
And he sent me that recording. And then she goes,
Ooh.
It's true. Just don't hit me. And then he calls me back. And he goes, see, I told you. And I said, listen here, motherfucker. I do not care how many lies she's told.
Yeah.
I don't care what she has done. I don't care. You put your hands on my child again, and there will be a reckoning of the likes you will never see. Don't ever touch my daughter again. I don't care if she lies about that causes world devastation. You will not touch my child again.
Yeah, it's never an excuse.
And he was just floored with that. He was really taken back by that. So hours later, here's my dogs barking, and we live way out in the country. Him and Scott are pulling up in a truck. And I'm like, oh, hell no, they are not here.
Did you greet him out the front door with a shotgun?
No, but I had a gun in the house. And I wish to God I had shot him that day. I do.
I mean, castle doctrine, you probably would have.
But we called 911 because he was trying to break into the house.
You definitely have a right to shoot him then.
Yeah. And I was determined that if that door came open, he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
But my dogs started attacking them.
Good. Dogs know evil.
And
dogs outside?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our dogs are all outside.
Oh,
and
no,
we had 3 of them at the time, and one was a big Great Dane. And they started attacking them, and the police came. And when they came, Josh took off on foot, just started running.
Oh, wow.
And he left Scott there to
fend for himself.
Wow. And they didn't do anything. They just took a report. But that's how we started to find out, like, his background.
Yeah.
He had warrants.
Oh, shit.
He had...
And that's why he took off on foot.
Yeah, he didn't want to get caught. So, the next day rolls around, and he contacts her through social media. Oh, he's in a hospital because he had a seizure. And he's concerned about her and the baby, and he just wants to make things right. And what does she do? She decided she had to leave to go take care of him. She went back to him.
Oh.
And there wasn't anything I could do about it. Not a thing I could do about it. The last thing I told her that day was, I love you. You're always welcome here, but he is not ever welcome here again. Ever.
God, I think at that point I'd either slice the tires or put those keys in a blender.
I thought about it. And literally, like that week that she was gone, that it's one of those God things. I had made up my mind. I literally had made up my mind. Jim had called me. Poor Jim, I've put him through some stuff, I swear. I love you, honey. But he called me and I said, he's just going to kill her. He's going to kill her. And so I'm going to just go kill him before he kills her. And Jim's like, now you got to think about, I have thought about this. I'm getting the pistol out of the cabinet right now. And I'm going to go take care of business. I'm going to go get my daughter. And I hung up on him.
Damn.
I was like,
Mama Bear's mad. Don't fuck with Mama Bear.
I was like, no. And so I went and got that gun and put it in my purse. And my phone rang and I looked down at it and it says Mom. And I thought, that son of a bitch called my mother and told on me. Why is she calling me? I'm like, why is my mom? Oh, no, he did not tell my mom, So I'm like, I pick up the phone and I'm trying to play it cool, And I'm like, hey, Mom. And she's like, what you doing? And I'm real careful about my word choice. So I was like, I'm going to go get Ashley. That's how I put it. She got real quiet. And long pause. And she goes, then do me a favor before you go. I said, yes, ma'am. She goes, put away the gun. And I went, he told you. He told you. Actually, he didn't tell her. He did not tell her.
Mom's intuition.
Yes. She said, I know my daughter.
Yeah.
Put away the gun. If you're going to go get her, put away the gun. And she talked me down out of it that day.
Oh.
Or I would have gone and killed him. I was actually willing to pay that price, but she talked me out of it. And a week and a half later, Josh started calling and he's like, is Ashley there? And I'm like, no, she's not. He's like, I can't find her. I don't know where she is. And he had started a job at that point. And I'm like thinking in the back of my head, yeah. She left his ass.
Right.
Yes. She gonna roll in the door any minute now. And, so I'm just like, I'm telling the truth. No, she ain't here.
Yeah.
No, she ain't here. And he's blowing up my phone every time I turn around. And a day goes by and I haven't heard from her. 2 days go by. And we're getting into the second day and I'm starting to freak out because I haven't heard from her
every single day.
She's not answering her phone except for that time period. When she went back to him was the only time we did not talk, that 2-week period.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, so I told Josh on the phone, I said, look, I don't know what in the world has happened, but you better find my daughter. Oh, I don't know where she is. And then he made this comment and that freaked me out. Like I have never been freaked out before until she was shot. He goes, well, maybe her body's in the lake. Do you want to come help me look for her in the lake?
Oh.
And I thought he killed her then.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the freakiest thing to
like
say.
that's so specific and so yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And that's when I just demanded. I said, you better find my daughter. When this 48 hours is up, there will be an alert for her. You better get yourself together.
Shit, I wouldn't even give them that much information.
Yeah, because
I wouldn't give them the head start.
Yeah. I was like, So the 48 hours passed. We put out an alert. She was all over the news on a bolo alert. People were looking for her everywhere for 3 days. And the police came out and questioned him. He lied, said that she didn't leave a note. He didn't know where she was. And all this kind of stuff. And Scott lied. It turned out she left his ass because they got into an altercation in which, when she went to leave him, he ripped her clothes off in the middle of the street with neighbors watching and nobody called the police. Drug her back into the house, again, beating her. He kicked her in the stomach, told her she wasn't taking that baby with her if she was leaving. And he dragged her into the bedroom and tied her to the bed And Scott watched all this and did nothing. He had watched all the abuse this whole time and did nothing. And
Makes you wonder what kind of
yeah,
relationship Scott had.
that
Yeah.
we'll get to that later because
Okay.
oh my
Oh,
lord.
shit.
But
Fuck.
I'm
man.
I'm sitting there going, what? And they went out partying and left her for the weekend, tied up. And then when he came back, he told her he would untie her if they would make up. And he wanted proof of that making up. So it had to be sexual in order for proof. And she literally cried to me and told me, Mom, I had to fake it. I had to fake it, this love for him. And the next morning when he went to work, she took off and she left him a note saying, I'm leaving you, motherfucker. I'm not staying for this. Don't look for me. I won't be at my mom's. You are not going to find me. And she went and hid at a friend's house. And she was like, Mom, I literally, when she came where she found out she had an alert on her, and she called me to tell me she was okay, she said, I thought he would read you the note. And I worded it in a way where I knew I was laying low and I'll be in contact with you later. I knew, I did not, I wrote him a note. And there was a note and he lied to you. I said, I have no doubt.
Yeah.
I have no doubt. And so that's what started that, in order for the Bolo alert to be released, police had to come and take a statement. They filed felony charges, but he had that's when we started to find out the back history. He had 8 other women he had abused before her. She was 7. I mean, she was number 8.
God, and this is
and he had been in prison for the first wife for abuse.
To the neighbors out there, if you see something, say something.
Yes, everybody. If you see
Or
something,
people in general.
if you haven't watched, I mean, if you're just tuning in, and you didn't watch the last podcast where we had human trafficking, and it's similar thing, where people saw it but they didn't say anything,
Right?
and it continued, and it over and over again, and it's like you have to say something, you have to speak out,
and then he still had open warrants.
Okay, hold on for a second.
Yeah.
You got to break the silence.
What kind of phone does Jim have?
iPhone.
Okay, Jim, if you can hear me, go to Safari.
Yeah, Safari.
Yeah, go to Safari. You'll be able to break in. Or if you have Chrome, Chrome might work.
No,
So-
Chrome doesn't work.
Chrome
on
doesn't
iPhone.
work?
No.
Okay.
It's only,
Well, try
for some reason,
Safari.
Safari is the only one that works.
Okay, because he said it won't let him. It says switch to modern browser. So go to Safari and see if you can get in that way. All right. So sorry, didn't interrupt.
No.
Go ahead.
So she was all kinds of. You're talking about all of that happened, 5 days earlier. She's letting me know, and I said, you got to talk to the police. And then I told her, I have to see you. I have to see you to see if you're okay. And she had a black eye. She had all this bruising. She had these rope burns. And she told me what happened. And I was just like, baby, you can't do this. For the sake of your baby, you can't. Come home. And that's when she informed her father and I that she couldn't come home because Josh said that if she went back home again, he would rape me and her sister in front of her, kill us, and then kill her.
Damn.
And she believed him, and who wouldn't believe him? I mean, we're sitting here finding out this background of he abused all these multiple women. One of them was even his sister-in-law that charges were filed,
Wow.
So, and he has open warrants from the last woman for 2.5 years that they never been able to pick him up on.
You would think that when the first incidents, when you called the cops and he took off on foot, that, they start a search party because obviously he had a warrant out for his arrest.
Yeah. You would have thought. You would have thought.
That's why I hate the legal system.
So, they told us, Friday, it was, later in the afternoon. If she wanted a protective order, she'd have to go to the court Monday. We went to the court on Monday. And the first thing we experienced from the court clerk there in that county was, she goes, oh, who are you wanting to file this against? And she said his name. She goes, oh, that guy. Well, you kind of get what you get when you're with him. You should have known better. I was like, what?
Why is that motherfucker not in jail then? That's the
Yeah. Yeah. So
all right, Jim's in.
Hey, honey.
Hold on, let's see.
I will be back momentarily.
There you are.
There he is.
We can't hear you though.
Hey, Jim, you me talk for you? I'll talk for you. Hey, Jim, how you doing? I'll talk for you, Jim. You looking good, buddy?
If only we could hear you.
Yeah,
You have
Turn-
to push the mute, unmute yourself.
yeah. Unmute yourself, Jim. Come on now. You look tired.
He probably is. He's been driving and up.
I'll talk. I'll try
Gonna
to
do
go with
voiceover
what
for
Tim
Jim?
said. I'll do voiceover for Jim. Oh, how you doing, Tara?
Believe me, that does not inspire me.
Hello, darling.
Have you figured it out?
Hey, do you have any headphones or you can plug in or unmute yourself?
Or your
Get your readers on so you can see.
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
Find that mute button and unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself, man.
Or I wonder when he selected if he didn't choose to turn
He
on
probably didn't choose the microphone.
turn the microphone or access.
Well, at least
the
he's
microphone.
smiling. I mean,
Well, at least we can see him.
Yeah.
you might have to log out and come back in and choose your microphone to work, hon.
Yeah.
I
Log out and
I
come back in and see.
Yeah,
did it
Allow
again.
access to your microphone. That's probably what
Right.
it is. Apple with all their damn security bullshit.
Oh, that's true. I don't have an Apple. When I do it,
All right, brother. We're gonna put you in the green room until you get the audio situated. Give us a thumbs up whenever you get the audio figured out,
Yeah.
because we can see you, we just can't hear you.
At least he's
Yeah.
laughing.
Right?
Yeah.
You know. So-
So we spent like 6 weeks trying to hide her with different friends.
Uh-huh.
She would not come home. Of course, I begged her to come home. I didn't think anybody could protect her better than me. But she's a headstrong kid. I don't know where she got that. Just saying.
Can't imagine.
Can't imagine where she got that.
Right.
And she started another job, and it was just blocks away from where she was staying, so she felt comfortable staying there. And the police in that county were very like, you need to stay in the county so we can get them. Oh no, don't ever listen to that crap, people.
That's
Right?
Because-
No, it's your job to get whatever fucking county I'm in is irregardless. You need to go.
Because they were using her like bait.
Don't ever say that again.
But then they didn't protect her.
I was seeing if you were paying attention.
Yeah, they were using her like bait, but yet they didn't protect her. So
Once again,
what we found out is how he found her was he used the system. Of course, he's been in the system, right?
Oh.
So here's where now you're going to find out why I don't like the legislators because she had the emergency protective order. You can't get a finalized one until you go to court with your abuser. And of course, he is not going to show up in court because then he's going to get arrested because he has warrants.
Fucking shit I've ever heard.
Yes.
So-
Yes.
Oh my god.
So let me get this straight. I got to go face my abuser? No, that's
Yes.
dumb as shit.
So they will only give you an emergency one. And the emergency one in Oklahoma there, and that happens in a lot of states, it kind of varies, it was 20 days. So every 20 days, she's got to go and renew it.
Yeah.
Well, guess who knows that information?
Yep.
Oh,
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So the third time she's up renewing
Oh,
it,
boy.
he sent Scott up there to the courthouse to find her, follow her, and find out where she was.
Oh.
Man, Scott's a piece of shit too.
Yeah, no, Scott, I feel like is just as guilty, if not worse, than the other guy.
Oh,
It's-
no, he's definitely a
What's
piece
his
of shit.
rap
Is he
sheet? Does
still
he have
around?
one too?
No, he did not have one.
Is he still around?
He's in prison.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll let
Good.
you. Yeah, that son of a bitch ain't never getting.
Hell,
Accomplice?
Yeah.
Yeah, Adria, that's exactly where I'm at. They dropped the ball so many times. The system failed her multiple times.
Miserably.
Like, I mean, we've already at least acknowledged at least 3 to 4 times where the system is
where
completely
the system
failed.
failed her. And while this is going on, he stole his brother's license.
Uh-huh.
And his brother reported the stolen license because he was racking up
Yeah.
tickets under
Yeah.
his brother's name.
Oh, Jesus.
And so the warrants were coming due, so he reported it. And they actually pulled him over here in Texas at one point. But
They don't have a centralized database.
Yeah, didn't have a centralized database, so they let him
Another
go.
failure. There's
Yeah.
number 5.
Yeah. They sure did. It was like it was insane during that time period. It was utterly insane. So we're into July.
Yeah.
And July 4th hits, and he's calling her and her friends and telling her what she's wearing, telling her where she is, and the police are being called and they're racking up charges. And during one of the calls, I think on July 5th it was, I mean, literally he called back while the officer was there. And I'm on the phone with her.
This is all the same year, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Kayla has a question real fast before you get.
Yes, Kayla.
Is Josh Scott in prison due to being an accomplice or something completely unrelated?
Oh, well, we'll get to that part.
Okay, see, I told you she was going to get to it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I literally did the.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely an accomplice. This is why my life is like a Lifetime movie, I feel like. That's why ID channel picked this up and why it made national news when it happened with her.
God, there's so many.
Because, we're sitting there and.
I feel like the police and everybody involved, like, I feel like they should be held accountable too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they should. We
You know,
tried
and that's
to
the
we
shitty
tried to
thing.
get a lawyer and
This is
hold
why
them
this
accountable.
continually happens because they're never held accountable.
Well, I mean, you're right, and I'm not trying to compare, but look, Petito.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
like
here's,
literally had him pulled over.
Yeah.
And
well, here's another thing. When Ashley filed the charges,
But that great point. Though.
there was a hole in the wall in the mobile home, a hole in the floor in the mobile home that he would hide from the cops whenever they would come to try to do the warrant. And Ashley told him about it and where it was.
Yeah.
And they went there to get him, and they even,
Canine.
opened the hole.
Yeah.
But
I'd be like putting canine down in
they
that.
wouldn't go down there. And
Of course
Scott,
not. They might get dirty.
Scott later admitted that Josh was down there. They could have caught him that day.
Oh, 6.
you send
Or is it
the dog,
7? I
send the
can't
fucking
even.
dog down
That's
there.
what I
Send
said.
the
Send the
dog.
canine.
They
Like
have
that's
canines.
and
exactly what
let
they're
him
for.
shoot the dog and see what happens to him.
Yeah, dude,
oh
his
my
ass.
God, they will shoot him for
They
that.
will shoot.
They, it's an officer. To
That
them.
is an officer. Yep.
Yes, and so
Hey, Devin, put the link up again
Oh, okay.
for Jim, just in case he can come in.
He popped in for a second, but his video wasn't there.
So him and Scott both are running around all over social media, creating fake Facebook accounts, and they are literally.
That's why this was picked up by. Yeah, this all makes.
They are
yeah.
literally.
Jesus.
Yeah, like
taking-
This is a movie.
Josh-
This is a movie,
It is a
literally.
movie. Josh.
See, and I didn't know about all these details. He just
Yeah.
told me kind of like a high level. You didn't tell me about. No, you didn't tell
No,
me.
I didn't tell you all the
like
details.
90% of what she's
That's
telling me.
why
I'm
we're
like,
here. Like, let's get the shock
No,
factor. This is real reaction.
This
raw.
is real
Yeah.
I couldn't tell
reality.
you all the I couldn't tell you all.
I
the
know.
details.
That's why I'm glad
The
we
thing-
have her here, so we
yeah,
can hear
no,
all the
thing
details.
is that at that time,
Uh-huh.
at that time when y'all first two met at the Calamity screening,
Yeah.
is that I wanted y'all to talk and wanted
Right.
you to hear it from her, not from me,
Right.
about what actually happened.
But it's kind of hard to like, just meet you and be like, hey, can you tell me about the most tragic thing that ever
Right.
happened to you in your entire life?
Right.
Please tell me about it.
Well, no.
Oh, by the way, I'm Devin.
Well, I mean, exactly. We're almost 2 hours
gonna be-
into it, and we're still getting.
I know
great
we're
shit.
still not even to the.
That's not a first-time conversation.
Yeah. Well, maybe I don't know.
No.
They go off at 11.
11. Yeah, we're good. We're good. But thank you for.
No, so Ashley's trying to lay low, and he's like using the pictures. He stole pictures of a classmate who died in a car accident and pretended to be her. Made a fake Facebook account of this dead classmate, pretending to be her, telling all her friends that she
Mhm.
went to school with all of them and heard that Ashley was hiding from her abuser, and she wanted to help. Did they know how to contact
Dude, this
Ashley?
guy is next level serial killer like status
Yes.
for real.
Yes.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
For real.
That's
you know,
beyond
I hear about,
That's like
like
psychopath.
There were
Yeah.
literally 20 fake Facebook accounts, and 2 of them were her. He created fake ones of her. And Facebook wouldn't do anything about any of them except the 2 that were the fake of her.
he somehow like manipulated
everything.
also Scott.
Social media.
Scott, and if Scott never had a record,
and
he must have had some kind of
Scott
power over
was
Scott.
helping-
Like,
That's what I'm wondering. What power does the other Josh have over Scott?
it's like a
Well-
Manson thing or something.
Yeah, it's like a manipulative
Manson
brain
complex.
Well,
brainwashing.
it's
Like what?
it's a weird this is the thing Ashley told me. Okay, so I don't know how true. I have to go off of what she told me. And the police seem to think it's a strange kind of father figure kind of thing because Scott is like 19.
Scott's
He
younger.
idolizes Josh. But Ashley,
So to your point, yes, Manson. Go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah, he's younger. I get the whole fucking thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
Jesus Christ.
Ashley at one point, Scott called trying to, that time she came home, Scott called and said, "Oh, Josh loves you. You got to get back together. Just please give him another chance. He's sick and all this, right?"
Yeah, he's
And
sick, all right.
It's a whole dynamic. Like
Yeah.
he is her age, so it's coming from her age, and then also the older. So it's just
Yeah.
all like
So she's
manipulation. Holy shit!
She's screaming at him on the phone, screaming at him. "You are not my friend. Do not pretend to be my friend. You have watched him hurt me.
Fuck.
And you have watched him do these things to me, and you don't do anything to help me. You are not my friend. Don't pretend to be my friend."
Yeah, no shit. You followed me home.
So, it's, it was just crazy. It was a crazy, time during that time. So it's escalating. And like I said, July 5th, she's on the phone with me telling me he's driven by, told her what she's wearing. They've called the cops. The cops are out there, and she has me on the phone. I can hear everything the officer is saying because I'm that nosy mom. Yeah, leave me on the phone. I want to hear what's going on. I want to hear what they're doing.
Right.
And he's like,
because they've already failed at 7 different points. So at this point, yeah, you need to know what the hell.
And they have started calling her work. And they were threatening everyone she worked with who answered the phone.
Who's they? That were
the employees and the owner.
No. Who was calling the employees?
Josh.
Okay, because you were talking about law enforcement. And then
Josh
said they, and I was like, wait a minute.
Josh was calling.
Clarification. Okay.
So they filed stalking charges. They added those. They added terroristic threats. And then the cop was sitting there talking to her about, well, maybe we need to turn this over to FBI. This is FBI level, because he threatened to blow the business up and light it on fire with everybody in it.
Jesus Christ. Well, and then
and I'm thinking, yes, maybe they will do something, do something. And then Josh happens to call Heather. Heather is the girl she was living with. Josh calls Heather's phone, and the officer is there. And he's like, "Let me talk to him." And Josh I can hear him telling the officer. The officer's trying to go, "Hey, just come in and tell me your story, and we'll get this all straightened out." Because he's like, at first saying she's lying, and then all this stuff. And then he said, "No, just, give me 5 minutes. Come in." And he said, "No, I need 5 minutes with Ashley is what I need. 5 minutes with Ashley, and I'll end this. I'll kill her. I'll kill myself. This will all be over with."
Wait, he said that to the cop?
Yes.
My
yes. God. And we could not get a permanent restraining order off of that alone. He has to be served. So it's like crazy. Is Jim on?
Oh, is he on? Oh,
Yeah.
He's there. Oh, he's got a hat on now.
I get that hat on too, Jim. You're losing your hair.
No, he isn't.
Hey, I saw that.
Hey.
Beautiful mane. Look at that. Woo!
Hey,
He
I
needs a
had to
haircut.
say something, Jim.
When his hair gets like that, I call him Fuzzy Wuzzy. Because he
Fuzzy
doesn't.
Okay, we just call
Can we
you
hear him
Fuzzy
now? Hold
Wuzzy,
on.
Jim.
Can we hear him?
Can we hear you now?
No?
Damn it. Still can't
Oh, come on, Jim.
hear.
Is it your
It's your microphone. You got to push camera and mic.
well, I'm wondering, he recently got hearing aids, and the hearing aids are tethered in, so is that maybe the problem?
Okay, so that
Very
might
well.
be his
Yeah.
problem.
Very well.
No,
could
He
be.
said
says
no.
no. He
Well,
said
he
they're
can hear
off.
us. We just can't hear him. What?
Oh,
No,
that's,
he's
got
using,
hearing aids.
no, he's got his
that's too
headset.
bad we can't
That's
hear
his
Jim.
Oh, it's his trucker headset.
You got your headset on, the trucker headset?
Well, yeah, if you got your headset hooked up, if it's hooked up to the phone, you should be able to hear the audio, huh?
Yes, it does.
Look at him.
Not
He's,
on my computer.
he's
It-
getting
my
frustrated.
phone,
I
it
can
does.
tell.
Son of a bitch. Do you have a computer you can try?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
No, I can't. We can't
can
hear you.
Still
maybe
can't hear you, brother.
go into your settings and see where it's connecting Bluetooth wise.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's like, hold on.
There you go.
Yeah, no. On my laptop, for some reason, my headphones don't work.
I'll go ahead and
but-
put him in the bottom corner over there.
Yeah, I'll just put him in the bottom
I'll just
corner.
put him in the
and-
corner over
Honey,
there.
you're in a corner.
Put Jim in the
We'll
corner.
put Jim in the corner.
Nobody
Jim in the
puts Jim in a
Nobody
fucking corner.
puts Jim in the corner.
Jesus.
We'll put Jim in the corner.
He was a corrections officer. No one puts Jim in a fucking corner. Let's be real.
I want to hear his, like, being that he was former law enforcement, like what he feels about all the different balls that were dropped.
Balls.
There you go.
Somehow, I knew we were going to work that into the podcast this evening.
Uh-huh.
I'm surprised you did.
Politics and balls.
Yeah, it always
Yeah.
happens somehow.
Yes.
Yeah, he was with TDC. Yeah.
Yeah. Michael,
We'd love to hear your story.
How about now?
There.
Hey!
Yay.
Jim, can we hear you?
I heard him.
I heard him.
I don't.
Oh,
I heard something.
oh, he left me.
Oh,
We
Jim.
finally got to hear him.
Jim,
We
Jim, where'd you
heard
go?
you
Is
when
he-
you left.
Dude, we heard you for like a nanosecond.
Jim, where'd you go, dude?
There he is. He's back.
Come
He's
back.
There he is.
Come back,
All right.
Jim.
He's back.
Jimmy, come back.
Can you hear me now?
Jimmy,
yeah, but
come back. We can hear you. Got a little static going, but we can.
What is that? It's going to cut us out. The static's going to end up cutting us out.
Yeah, you
Think
got
so?
some
Yeah.
static.
Yeah, we got some
Well,
static going.
I tried, y'all.
Hey, we
we
can
did
hear you.
too.
We'll just,
Yeah.
We are working on it.
damn it.
That's weird.
I know. I've never had.
It's a rhythmic.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's probably because my truck's running.
Oh, it's because the truck. Oh, interference maybe from the truck.
Yeah, probably, but it's still 100 degrees where I am.
Yeah, I would say step outside, but no, not if it's 100 degrees outside.
Yeah. I don't want. I ain't trying to get you out in that Texas heat right now. Shit sucks.
Are you in Texas or where you at?
I
I'm
bet
in
you
Texas.
he's in Mexico.
Where?
Texas.
I'm in Texas,
Oh, he's in.
just a little ways from Hobbs, New Mexico.
Told you he was close
Oh,
to
I
New
know
Mexico.
exactly. I know exactly
Told
where
you.
you're at. Okay.
Yeah. Do you have your tin hat, baby, so the aliens won't find you?
Yeah, stop by Roswell and pick me up an alien. Bring him on over.
Watch, he'll have a tinfoil
I was
hat.
going to do that, but they don't speak English.
They don't
Son of
speak
a
English.
bitch.
Imagine that.
Wait, the outer space ones or the?
I mean, you
Hispanic
know,
ones?
sometimes they do look like they're from outer space.
Are you using your phone or are you using your headset, honey?
I'm using a headset.
Okay. You want to maybe turn off your Bluetooth and see if we can hear you just through your phone.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All that.
Yeah, Devin, remember to
I'm gonna
shut off the echo.
Yeah, it is. It's off.
Okay, good job. Oh, where'd he go? Did he leave?
I think he's
Or is he gonna hop back in?
messing with the settings.
I gotta shut off the Bluetooth.
Okay, how about now?
Oh,
Oh, yeah, we can hear you just a little bit, but without the static.
Yeah, there's no static now. It's just.
so that means when you ask him a question, everybody needs to shut up and let him talk.
That's right, Andy. Shut up.
No,
I've been
I
telling
have been
I've been
quiet.
telling
I just
Tara
would like
that
to
for
point
years.
that out.
It don't work.
What's that?
I've been telling Tara that for years. It don't work.
Ah.
Whatever. You're going to lose your trophy husband status if you
Uh-
keep that up.
He's like participation trophy.
Okay, well, I want to say something to Jim. I want to say something to Jim right quick. So, how you been doing, buddy?
Doing good, Patrick. It's good to talk to you.
Good to see you and talk to you too, man. Really.
I was waiting for something groundbreaking.
Yeah, me
No,
too.
no.
It's revolutionary.
No.
I
It's
gotta
gonna
tell
impact
some-
the
I
world.
don't think.
Jim, you'll never
I really
believe this.
don't think.
How you doing?
No, I really don't think that you and including
You're cutting in and out for some reason.
Kayla understand.
All right, hold on. I'm
Okay,
I'm gonna mute him for a second. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Give me the mic.
You got it.
Okay, I don't think you two and Kayla understand how close that with the Ashley story and when me and Joey
Hold on.
was going to do this,
I figured out.
how close Jim and Tara and I got to just how close we got,
You're right.
Period. right?
Right.
I was just waiting
Right.
for something
Because I mean,
crazy to be said. I gotta
no,
tell
no, no,
something.
no. Because I mean, it was like it was like I treated Tara like a sister and
Yeah.
Jim like a brother.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, we were on the phone like almost every night. Me and Tara was. You know, sorry, Jim, but but she did take the calls when you called. When she was on the phone with me.
Well, half
Thanks,
the
Captain
time
Obvious.
we were-
Kayla says, "Fun fact: Devin's dad's name is Jim." Thank you for putting that out there, Kayla.
I want to see him
This is another
smile.
groundbreaking.
I want to see him smile about that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna run out of ink after this one.
Yeah, right.
Patrick's like, please smile, don't get me
Yeah,
in trouble.
smile. Smile. When I was talking to Tara, okay. Oh,
Can you hear me, Patrick?
yes, I can hear you.
Yes, he can.
Just so you know, I never worried about you being on the phone with Tara, and the reason I didn't wasn't because you're not a good man or anything like that. What the reason I didn't worry is because you were helping my wife through a bad situation, and she was able to talk to you on certain levels that she wasn't even able to talk to me about. I was too close to things at the time. And I don't know if I've ever really thanked you for it, but I do thank you. You helped us an awful lot in ways that you can't even imagine.
Okay, you got him tearing up over here, brother.
Aw,
You got him in the hearts.
you got him. Got him in his feels.
Jim.
Jinx.
Oh.
The aliens got him
Dude,
though.
the aliens.
Yeah.
They're on
Yeah.
Jim's side. You hear that?
Roswell
Like you
got
hear that
him.
static in the background? It's like,
Yeah, I wish.
better
we could
watch out,
hear you
Jim. The
better.
aliens are somewhere around
They're
you.
plotting on you, sir.
I tell you what, we need to do one sometime when he's in town, and we'll come back with him.
Yeah,
with
definitely.
us,
We'll have him in the
'cause-
studio.
Because yeah, he's a lot of fun.
We'll get another actual office chair by then.
Actually, I have two downstairs that just need to be put together.
I feel so short right now.
Oh,
Oh man.
sir.
Well, we appreciate you tuning in. I wish we could hear you a little bit better, but I got the mic volume all the way turned up to 150.
I wish you could too. I'm not sure why you can't.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Hey,
Hold on, his mic cuts off. Go ahead and mute.
I'm gonna mute you, Jim, real fast so that Patrick can talk or try to talk.
hey, Jim, can you hear me?
Yes, he can. He's got it muted, so you can talk.
Thumbs
Okay.
up if you can hear him.
Yeah.
Yep, you gotcha.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate that. I have a daughter, and I know. So, just thanks, man. I appreciate it. Okay.
So
Woo!
I feel like I need to say something to make him mad. So that me, so we can get him focused off the feelings. Like,
So he can turn around
Yeah,
and say, "F you."
I
Well,
do,
thank you for
yeah.
that, Patrick.
I do.
I know that
because
takes a
I never
lot.
thought.
I feel like
because I
I-
never thought. I never thought that he thought that. You know, I didn't have a fucking clue. I mean, he's never said anything to me.
I thought he was gonna say that he wouldn't have to worry about you because you're a little short shit fuck.
I was waiting for the joke. I was waiting for the joke, but that's
I was waiting for the punchline too.
because we're fucked up people. That's
Yeah, we
what.
are.
You just had to ruin the fucking moment, didn't you?
No, I need you.
We need to get your focus
I need
back.
you to breathe.
I need to get the focus back.
I need
Yeah,
you to
you
breathe.
breathe.
Yeah, no, me and
it's
me and
just
Devin are
whatever.
fucked up people.
This is-
Apparently, like we have no like.
But this is the thing. This is the dynamic of like when this kind of tragedy happens. Look at how many other people it affects out there. People who weren't even in the thick of it.
Right.
Yeah, it changes lives, right? And so that's why I do.
But no, I
this.
mean it feels like everything that I've heard about Ashley, I've seen about Ashley, I've read about her, and everything. It honestly, it really seems like that. I knew her, and I guess that's why I was getting close to the project. That I just kept trying and trying and trying to do you a favor, and trying to bring it out.
Well, and the other thing too is you have a daughter, so when you hear the stories, you picture your daughter going through the same thing, and it like just fire inside just burns, and like, even though you don't have like a dog in the fight, so to speak, you do because you have a daughter, and you would never want your daughter to go through the same thing.
Fuck no, I don't. I'm no.
Nope.
No.
Google Translate.
All right, I got your mic back on, Jim.
Well, I'm glad you included me in the conversation.
Definitely, we were trying to get you on the conversation earlier. I want to hear
he
your.
does have that.
There's
Southern
so
accent.
many.
Yes, he does.
There's so many like aspects that I'd love to hear your side, and especially from the law enforcement background, and hearing how like they basically failed, and
Well, Jim
Well,
was
they failed-
literally
they
like
failed
going. Oh, go ahead, honey.
what was that?
They failed in so many ways, but Tara's going to tell you about. I mean, she's just getting to parts of it where she can tell you about the way law enforcement did fail. I will tell you they did certain things, like I told them where the guy was hiding at one point, and they went out to the house, and I told them how to get to him. He was up underneath the house. I told them where to go through the flooring in the house, and they were too scared to go down in there and look for him.
Yeah. See,
And
Ashley
they
told
wouldn't,
him,
and they wouldn't allow me to do it.
Police are too scared. That's I
Mhm.
just.
Well, that reminds me of the whole Uvalde thing. Like the
Exactly.
police
I know.
are too scared. It's
They
like,
were too
then why are you
scared.
fucking in that line of work? Go get a desk job somewhere. Go flip some fucking burgers at McDonald's or some. Well, yeah, not reacting is. I mean, that's the whole reason why you're there, to serve. And what's the last part? Protect. You're failing your job, literally.
But
Yeah.
what you think in particular from a law enforcement part of it, for me being in corrections, when I first started, I started on Beta 1, and half the unit was the basically the psych ward for the criminally insane,
Oh.
and the other half was regular inmates. And eventually I got moved to Michael unit, which was a maximum security place. But I saw a lot of things out there. I saw a lot of crazy people. I saw a lot of really evil people, and I saw people that I truly believe had a demon riding on their shoulders or were possessed or whatever
We gotta get you in the studio.
Yeah, you do. He's got stories.
I know you got some stories. I definitely want to have you in the studio. Might have to make part 2.
When you, as a father, when you see this stuff going on with a guy that's involved with your daughter, you're walking a fine line. And where do I start? Where do I take control of this? Because if you take control of it too soon, your daughter hates you for the rest of your life.
Right.
If you don't take control of it, then he can wind up killing her.
Right.
And, I thought when me and Tara got to the point that I was looking for this guy, I was trying to hunt him down. When I got to
I
that
could only
point,
imagine I'd be doing the same exact thing.
well, Tara can tell you, we spent a lot of time going into places. I mean, I had her sit out in the parking lot and wait on me at a place that I never even thought I'd pull into a parking lot.
Oh,
with
yeah,
her
I'll
at.
tell that.
But, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, I did not think Ashley was going to go back over to that house and he was going to find her when he did. But I had already made my mind up. If it took me going to prison, it took me going to prison. But he wasn't going to live past the next time I saw him.
Right.
And I just couldn't catch him in time.
Yeah, Jim had literally at this point was kicking in people's doors that he had heard he was at their house looking for him. We were going into places like, this is a true story. I was with him and we heard that he frequented a strip club up there.
Oh.
And so like Jim goes in there and he's like, he didn't want to leave me in the parking lot. But I was like, oh, hell no, my grandma will come out of her grave and whoop my ass if I step foot in the strip club.
I will catch on fire.
I will burn.
Immediately.
I will stay out here. But I mean, we were literally putting fires up with his face telling people to report if they see him. I mean, Jim was hot on his heels, doing what he was trained to do. He just didn't catch up with him fast enough.
Right.
So
it's like he's always staying one step ahead.
Yeah. And that's because he had family and friends helping him. So we were like, we were at that point, like I said, and the cops said that, and so it kept going. This was 5th, 6th, going into that, and then come July 11th, the DA is on it now. And the DA has a domestic violence advocate in her office, and she called me because that's the only phone number we've given out to anybody. We weren't giving her number to anybody because he kept finding out her number. We didn't know how he was finding her number. He found it 3 different times. We have changed it 3 different times.
Same carrier?
Yeah, same carrier, but we were the only...
Doesn't matter. If they got somebody that works for the carrier, they can find out numbers.
Yeah.
I had somebody do that. So
I've
never done it, so don't look at me.
I've been crazy before too.
No. Somebody I dated, and the guy ended up showing up at one of the bars that I managed, and this guy lived in Vegas and showed up in Addison. And then when he was there, like, it's a bar, right? It's a sports bar. And I asked him, like, as bartender, like, what would you like to drink? And he was like, no, I'm good. And he just leaned in the corner and was just watching me the entire time. And so he stood there for probably about an hour, and then he finally left. Well, when he left, 3 other people that were regulars, they said, "Do you know who that guy is?" And I go, "No, but he's fucking creeping me to like what's this?" And they go, "We used to work with this guy at such and such place, whatever." And they're like, "Dude, this guy's bad fucking news." Come to find out, it was the girl I was dating. It was the guy that'd been stalking her.
Hell yeah.
From Vegas.
Hell yeah.
And flew in just to see who I was.
So how did they know? How did they know who?
So what he did is he had somebody that worked at Sprint at the time. So every time she would change her number, he would get the new number because she stayed under the same carrier.
Well, you said it was your regulars that talked. Was it your You said it was the regulars.
The regulars that pointed him out.
How did they know him?
They worked with him. That's what I just said. They worked
where though?
When he lived in Texas, in Dallas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, Ashley's job with Scott was working for Verizon at call center.
There you go.
So
see,
that's the link.
There's the tie.
He had to have. He wasn't working there anymore, but he had to have known somebody.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly how they do it. Yep.
Yeah.
That's how this guy did it. And I had Sprint at the time too, so he had my fucking number. And all of a sudden, I got a call from Vegas, and I'm like,
because he had her friends' numbers. He was calling everybody she was talking to, and we had to just cut off where she didn't talk to anybody but me.
And this was back in 2002.
Scott was his little concubine and shit.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Yeah, like he's next level.
Well,
man.
at that point, Ashley had said also that she believed part of the reason why she left was that she believed Scott and Josh had a relationship going on behind her back.
That's kind of where I was at.
So yeah,
that's why I was like with the power and all that sort of stuff.
And it was really weird.
Don't forget Jim's still on, so I don't want to forget about him. That's all I'm just saying.
It was really weird.
Nobody leaves him in the corner.
Yeah, because
Jim, I don't want to leave you in the corner.
All
right, here we go. We'll split screen.
Go ahead. We'll do that.
There, he's not a corner anymore.
But the other thing that Scott did that was really weird, he had gotten a new girlfriend just towards the end there, and her name was Ashley.
Oh my
God. You, man.
Yeah, really weird. Really, really weird.
Crazy ass.
So it was pretty crazy. And so anyway, the DA advocate contacts at me, and we 3-way call Ashley, and she said, "This is just too hot. This is too much mess." And I had already earlier that week, I mean, driving down the road, I literally had something like flood me. I literally had like a waking vision of him killing her. And it was so graphic and so real, I had to pull off the highway and throw up.
Damn.
So I was very much in the mindset of he's going to kill her. He's going to kill her. We have to get her help. And so the DA advocate and her and I talked, and we made arrangements. They were going to bring her out of Oklahoma into a shelter in Texas, affiliate her with a group that would help hide her, protect her, change her last name, change her social security number. I mean, they were going to take her underground until he was caught. And so we were making the plans, and she wanted, the DA advocate and I would talk to her about that, and we wanted to do that right then, that day, right then. And Ashley literally went, Mom, the people I work with, they've been so great to me, and they didn't fire me. I don't want to leave them holding the bag. I'm going to tell them I'm leaving. I'll leave at the end of my work week. I'll leave Saturday. And this is on a Thursday.
Yeah.
I'll leave Saturday because I just can't leave these people out in a lurch. But you come pick me up after I get off work Saturday and take me, and we're going. And so, we tried to talk her out of that, but she was just very headset about that. And so we didn't know what happened in the background that Thursday is what started the nightmare. Because that evening, Scott called his mother's ex-boyfriend, who he did not like, and asked for a ride. He had went and got a gun. And he actually posted the picture of the gun late that night on Facebook. And he went and had his head shaved off like in a mohawk, and he
You said
dyed
this
it
is Scott,
red.
right?
Scott.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Scott.
Okay.
And so
Scott's off his rocker too. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he calls up this man. His name was Chad Page, his mother's ex-boyfriend, and asked for a ride over there by the lake, over there near Lake Texoma. And as they're driving, he shot him.
Wait, who shot who?
Scott
Chad.
shot Chad.
Oh shit! I didn't know.
Let me interject right quick.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah.
I went out a couple of times with a cousin of Chad's,
Yeah.
and her knowing
Wow,
that
so
she.
he's
Hold on,
close to
Andy.
this
Just a
too.
minute, Andy.
Evidently.
So knowing that he was a part of with the two Joshes,
Mm-hmm.
I stopped because I knew that it was part of Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
I am dead fucking serious. I stopped
Mm-hmm.
because it was part of Ashley.
Mhm.
And I knew that if you and Jim knew, I just
Well,
Yeah,
you mean
you
with
know,
Chad?
Chad-
Chad's family.
Chad. I guess I know Chad probably didn't have anything to do with it,
No, Chad didn't.
but it was part of the two Joshes that who was it? Josh, was it Scott or McAfee that shot him? It was
Scott.
Scott. Okay.
Mahaffey wasn't there.
Okay, so Scott killed him,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just stopped
And
Mm-hmm.
because
this
knowing
was prior.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
The night before Ashley.
Okay.
well, actually, this was like a couple months ago,
Oh,
Oh, really?
that you were.
recently, very recently.
Well, I'm not worried about. Actually, we're
Well, I know
we're
you're not
close
worried
with
about it.
some
I'm
of-
just
actually,
telling.
we're close with some of the Page family.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, I didn't know that, but
Yeah,
anyway.
because that brings you close together, two families who are
Well,
seeking
yeah.
justice.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Right, yeah.
So now it's starting.
I just had to
Tied
stop
at minds.
because knowing that he knew one of the Joshes,
It's starting to
Mhm.
spell out why
I
the
had
guy's
to-
in jail now.
I had to stop, and you
Yeah.
know why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. So
No, it's not just the.
So
yeah.
anyway,
no.
go ahead. Sorry,
So
I just wanted to say that.
he shot Chad in the side, and evidently the car came to a stop, and he shot him again. Like, being graphic, I'm sorry for everybody. Trigger warning here. You're going to get triggered from this point on, believe me, because
you
it
weren't
triggers
already.
me. Yeah.
Pretty much there.
He shot him again, like in the neck, and his description to the judge. I mean, literally, what Scott wrote to the judge about this, about what happened, was that Chad was suffering, so he had to put him out of his misery. So he shot him in the eye.
Oh my god.
And he's
And-
20, I guess.
Yes,
21.
Yes, 20.
Yeah,
And then he dumped his body there at the lake.
Raise the age limit to 30 on guns, all of them.
Hey,
At
at 20, he
well,
shouldn't have owned a
Josh-
handgun anyway.
Josh couldn't
Sure.
get a hold of a handgun because he had a felony. So he had Scott go get the gun for him. And
Well, hold on.
they-
How did Scott get a hold of it then? Is it a hand? It was a handgun, correct?
yes,
It's illegal under 21 to own a handgun.
I don't know.
So he must have.
Oklahoma might not have the same laws though.
Yeah, it's
I'm pretty
Oklahoma.
sure they do.
But anyway,
Oklahoma.
It's Oklahoma. They give them to 5-year-olds. There you go.
I,
They
it
don't-
may,
I don't know.
may very well have been a gun off the
Oklahoma
street.
doesn't have the laws like fucking Texas.
Telling you,
yeah.
21,
So-
dude. I think that's a national law.
So anyway, Josh's mom hid him back here in Texas, 3 hours away. And
what is it with the parents? Of
oh yes,
fucking-
this woman is something
like
else.
hiding these pieces of
Apple
shit.
doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yes. So, Scott
I
drove
get it.
3 hours that night to come get Josh. They drove 3 hours back into Oklahoma.
Oh, motherfucker.
And that morning, Josh called his mom and had her meet him at a local convenience store. There's
in
still-
Oklahoma, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
There's still blood inside the car
Whose car?
that they're driving. Chad's car.
Oh, they're
Mhm.
driving Chad's car.
Oh, they're
Chad.
driving
Yeah, they're
Chad's
driving
car.
Chad's. That's what.
That's why he
person told
killed
me.
Chad, to take
Yeah.
the car, because they didn't have a
This is
car
straight
between
up
the
a
two of
movie.
them.
Oh my!
It
This
is.
is beyond a movie, bro. This is like
They took they
next
took-
level shit.
Chad's car. Okay.
I'm glad we got this
And
all
he
on recording,
stole-
so that way we can go back and like
Yeah, he stole
like some
Chad's
alpha
make
money.
the script.
He stole Chad's money, stole his car, went and got Josh. They came back in, met his mother. She saw the bloody car. They told her what they had done and that they were going for Ashley.
All right, mom needs to
next.
go to jail too.
And you know what she did?
She's accomplished what?
She did not call the cops. She filled up their gas tank and bought them beer and cigarettes and sent them on their way, 9 a.m.
That's what the girl said.
Were there drugs involved at all throughout any of this?
No, because
Jesus.
Apparently, there was
blood
copious amounts of
testing,
alcohol.
There was no, it's Oklahoma beer. Oklahoma beer.
Oh,
is
yeah,
like
it's not as strong.
Yeah, but
and they
like-
only had a 6-pack.
I'm waiting for like mom was on meth or something. Like
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Nope. They no.
No, Andy. There's
Holy
no
No
no scapegoat.
drugs
this is
involved.
drugs ain't a scapegoat
No
though.
drugs
I
are
know,
not
but
involved.
But it's a device that people use.
So-
Well, if they were on this, you know what I mean?
Now what the cops said the plan is, and they picked it up from the cell phone text messages back and forth between Josh and Scott. The plan was that Ashley was supposed to renew that protective order again that Friday morning at the courthouse, and they were going to go into the courthouse and kill Ashley and I in the courthouse, and whoever else they had to kill. That
We
was
can't get
the
in the
plan.
courthouse because there's metal detectors. So
Well, that you can in Medill.
Uh.
Yeah, and during that time, you sure
Yeah.
can in Medill. Walk right up in there.
Can
Wow.
you still do it in Medill?
I don't
still to
know.
this day,
I
Yeah.
don't know. They've had some.
Well, I know you
restrictions.
can't do it.
It's-
I know you can't
so-
do it in Carrollton. I know
Yeah.
or
that.
Denton.
Oh, there's set. You can't
So
get in
that's what-
Dallas.
So that's what they planned. So they sat outside waiting for us to show up, but they didn't know that the judge. It's summer.
Mhm.
You know, it's July 13th. It's a Friday the 13th.
Oh,
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah,
wanna
that's
talk about.
you know whose
Yeah.
birthday. You know whose birthday that is.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay. They waited and she didn't show up because the judge went on a vacation and the court notified Ashley and I to come in that Wednesday prior. That's part of why the DA advocate had gotten a hold of everything and said, this is way too hot, this is way too unsafe. We've got to do something.
Yeah.
So she had already done that.
but at least somebody acknowledged it.
Right. And so they left there
Mhm.
and they went to her work. And Scott is the one who walked into her work looking for her, looking around everybody, and somebody recognized him there, but didn't see Josh. So he left. In the meantime, I have woken up that morning and I see the post of the gun on Facebook.
Mhm.
And I'm like freaked out. So I called Ashley and said, hey, they got a gun. They've got a gun. You've got to be careful. You got to be aware of your set. And, you know, I'm like, they have a gun. If Scott has access to a gun, Josh has access to a gun, honey.
Mm.
And she's like, okay, Mom, I'll be more careful. And we talked for a while and, you know, she told me she loved me and we hung up. And I was just so upset about that, you know, part of what I told her was we need to call the cops again. And she's like, I've called them so many times. I said, but you know what? We'll let your dad call this time.
Right? Yeah.
And so Jim called them and they're they're telling him they can't do anything about a gun on Facebook. Sorry, can't do nothing. And Jim's like, has that ex background. He goes, oh no, there's a lot you can do. You can do XYZ. You can, you can do all these things. Don't tell me you can't do anything. You can follow her to work at least and make sure she gets there safe.
Yeah.
You can do all kinds of
Safety
stuff.
check. Yeah,
And they're like, no, we can't. If something happens, call us. And I was just like,
shit already did happen.
Right. And we've
Where were
called
you? Yeah, exactly. Where were you? You failed.
Yes. So by that time, I'm like a half an hour goes by and it was mother's intuition, period.
Mhm.
Something came over me. Well, I just started shaking and I was like, something's wrong. Something is wrong. It's terribly wrong. And I told Jim, I have to talk to Ashley now. And every time I try to hit her, every time I tried to hit her number, it was like calling other people. I wasn't hitting hers. I was hitting every name around her, but not her.
Uh-huh.
And I'm hanging up and I'm like, I threw the phone at Jim and said, dial her number. I can't dial her number. And I'm just bawling at this point and I'm shaking. I'm like, something is wrong. And he dialed the number, handed it over to me. And, she was staying with a friend, Heather, that she's the one who owned the place, but her boyfriend, John, was living there and his sister, Jeannie, was living there as well. And then Heather had 2 children, but they were gone with their father for the summer. And, I called in and John picked up the phone and he goes, Tara, Ashley's been shot and Josh is dead. He's killed himself. You got to get here now. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I was just so like out of it. And then I could hear Scott in the background. He goes, don't tell anybody here that I'm here or I will kill you all. And I was like,
and where were they at again?
They were at Heather's house.
Okay.
At that point.
I had been.
Who did you hear say that?
I had been
Scott.
Josh Scott.
The guy who shot Chad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I have been at Heather's.
Yeah.
And been in the bathroom where
Yeah.
he did that.
Yeah, because what happened was they left work, went up the road to Heather's. Ashley was texting a friend she worked with. She was going to go pick them up and take them to work too. And she told them, I'll be there in a minute. And they said all of a sudden she was heading towards the door to leave. And Heather said she started screaming, Josh is here, Josh is here. And all chaos broke loose. Josh broke in through the front door and Scott broke in through the back door. And Ashley had no place to go.
Wow.
She went for a bathroom, tried to shut herself in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. Heather and John were dealing with Scott at the back of the house. Jeannie's the only one up in the front with Ashley. And she said Josh just totally was laser focused on Ashley and where she was. He didn't even look at her or notice her or nothing. Mm-hmm. And she was standing only a few feet away from the bathroom. So he broke in the bathroom door. And Jeannie said what he did was, the first thing he did was he punched her dead between the eyes. And she fell backwards and fell to the floor. And they struggled over the gun with him holding it on her. And the first shot hit her in the shoulder. And she said at that point, she heard Ashley tell Josh, you can go to hell. And then there was the second shot, in which it was up here in the head. She had turned her head, so it kind of grazed, but it went in there. And then Josh immediately put the gun up under his chin and shot himself.
Wow.
So he landed on her in this narrow bathroom from the waist down on top of her. Mm-hmm. And the gun got pinned between her legs. Well, it was the only gun they had. Mm-hmm. Heather didn't know that. John didn't know that. They thought Scott had a gun too. They didn't know. They're arguing with him, trying to get away from him. And when Heather realized he didn't have a gun, she ran for it. And I called right in the middle of that. And from the time she texted that friend to say, I'm coming, to the time I called in, because we had the phone records, was only 3 minutes. Only 3 minutes went by.
Wow.
That's how quick.
Yeah.
How quick everything just went total south.
Wow.
So, yeah, you don't have time to react. Mm-hmm. and so we're trying to call back because Scott said what he said and the phone went dead. We're trying to call back. Nobody's answering. We're calling the police and Heather has broken loose, but they've declared it a hostage situation. Scott is holding, John and Jeannie hostage. He took their phones. He stole their money. And then when the cops started coming up the road, he took off on foot. But it was a good 20-minute period of time with all of that. And this son of a bitch had the gall to sit there and ask John for a cigarette, bum a cigarette. And Ashley was still alive. And they were begging him to please let us call and get her help.
Mhm.
And he wouldn't. He just sat there smoking a cigarette.
Mm.
So we're rushing to get to her, trying to get everything together. I get through and Jeannie answers the phone. She said, the cops are here. The ambulance is pulling up and I'm screaming, put the phone on speaker. And I'm literally just yelling, Ashley, I love you. Your mother's coming. Your mother's coming. I'm coming. Mommy is coming. And, that's just the worst feeling ever,
Wow.
ever. So much helplessness in that moment. And we're rushing to try to get to her because they say they're going to care flight her. And they said, if I get there, I can be on the care flight with her. And I missed the care flight by 5 minutes.
Mm.
So they've diverted us from going from Bonham to Medill, Oklahoma, which is an hour and a half away. And they're flying her in the Plano. So now we've got to go totally another hour and a half, 2 hours in rush hour traffic
Oh, geez.
towards Plano. So literally all our family members beat us to the hospital because we told them to go directly to the hospital.
Mm.
And, I hadn't got too much into my abuser, but my abuser and I had divorced at that point 10 years prior. And he had nothing to do with the girls and their lives for 10 years. Part of that was because he hurt Ashley during our divorce. So somebody
mentally,
physically, when we were divorcing, Ashley told me never to go back to him again. And he tried to wiggle his way back in while we were separated. And she literally looked at him at 10 years old and she looked at me and she said, Mom, don't let that son of a bitch back in our lives.
Wow.
Don't let him back in the house. And he got mad because she cussed.
Yeah.
And he went after her. And this is where irony. She tried to shut herself in a bathroom from him. And he broke in the door and shoved her around and concussed her, smacking her head against the toilet, shaking her violently. So that's how
11, right?
10 years old.
10? Okay.
Yeah. And so from that point on, she never called her father again, that biological father. She always called him by his first name.
Yeah.
All those years. And then when Jim and I married, Jim was her father.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the things we have to live with. Rachel, my oldest daughter, says, her experience with abuse, her experience started in a bathroom and ended in a bathroom.
Oh, God.
So, what do you do with that? But my ex, somebody contacted my ex. We don't know who.
Mm-hmm.
And he was there.
Wow.
Acting like a fool.
Oh.
Acting like a total raving fool. And she hated his guts. I mean, hated his guts. When Jim and I got married and he asked permission to marry me, Rachel said yes. And Ashley said, I got 2 conditions.
Mm-hmm.
She's 13. She goes, don't ever put your hands on my mom and don't let that crazy SOB who is my biological father ever near me again.
Mm.
That's how hardcore that this gets you just psychologically, let alone physically and emotionally. So, Josh Scott was on the run. They put Ashley in as a Jane Doe because they were too afraid of, him being on the loose. Mm-hmm. We endured a lot that day in the hospital because they said, neurologists said they did not think she was going to ever come out of it, that they really thought she was probably going to be brain dead. But they did this whole thing of because she was 16 weeks pregnant.
Yeah.
So here in Texas, they were 16 weeks, if we can keep her on machines for 4 to 6 weeks, maybe we can give you a granddaughter.
Right.
You know, she was supposed to have a little girl, and she was going to call her Patience. That's why we call it the Ashley Patience Project. Ashley
Yeah.
joked a lot about, I have no patience. You know, that is not a virtue God gave me. That is not
can relate.
happening. You know, she said, I picked that name so that I would remember to have patience with my child, and maybe my child will have a little bit of patience with me too. And so, yeah, they brought in specialists because of that. We went through her coding at one point.
Mm.
That was really rough. You never want to see that ever when someone codes and they have to bring them back. But the
Unfortunately, I've seen that.
specialist was like, no, there's too much blood diverting. You know, she has too much from her head wound. I mean, there's images when you experience something like that, you just never get out of your head. I will never get out of my head what she looked like, ever, because like she couldn't have opened her eyes if she wanted to. They were so swollen and shut, and they had brown bagged her up to the elbow. We weren't allowed to hold her hand because it was evidence because of the powder burns.
Oh, wow.
And she had these speckles all over her face that looked like blood blisters, powder burns.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we literally had 50 people in the waiting room.
Uh-huh.
And they told us, well, you know, we don't know how long it will be, but you might want to have them come in and say goodbye. So you're watching your family 2 by 2 come in and say their goodbyes. Mm-hmm. And I never left her. I wasn't going to leave her. But they're monitoring the situation with the baby. And I'm here to tell you, I mean, everybody can believe what they want to believe. I know what I believe on this level, but after everybody said their goodbyes, I insist on my time. It's my time with my daughter.
Yep.
And a technician came in they monitored through sonogram the baby. And that last time, I literally saw on the monitor, this always hurts so bad to tell this part. I saw my granddaughter's final heartbeat on that monitor. I saw her in pain in that final moment. And I will never forget that image. Ever. It is like so emblazoned. And her life was so much more than that. That baby's life was so much more. And I knew at that point my daughter, they had declared her brain dead at that point. And I knew she was only holding on for that baby. And the neurologist will tell you, I mean, he came up and talked to us extensively. He said, you know, the one thing I have learned in this line of work is hearing is the last thing to go.
Yeah.
She will hear you till the end. Mm. So whatever you say, whatever you do, know she's going to hear you. And I had made up in my mind, I had a choice. I mean, people were coming at me talking about organ donation this and choices for that. And I just was like, you know, I was like,
I have him here somewhere.
I don't think I can make this choice. So I gave Ashley a choice. That's what I decided to do. Uh-huh. So in that moment, I bent down and kissed her, the only place I couldn't find on her that wasn't covered in blood. And I told her, I said, sweetie, if you're holding on for your baby, you don't have to anymore. It's okay. You can go be with her if it's too hard. Your mother will be all right. And literally 15 seconds, she crashed. Literally. And so I know she made the choice. Mm-hmm. That's the way I feel about it. I feel she made the choice. And as much as I wanted her to stay, and still want her to stay, you know, to this day, I feel like I made the only choice a mother could make.
Yeah, she's finally safe.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's never left me. So, I mean, you know, they finally caught Scott. And now you know why it went national news. And when you're attending a funeral and the media is there,
Oh,
and your ex is there who abused you and abused her, and they're saying they would like a statement from the family. And he goes, "Oh, I'll make a statement." Oh, the hell you will.
God. Yeah.
You know, nobody's going to speak for my daughter but me.
Right.
And that's what kicked everything into motion. So, you know, the first month was rough. I spent it in bed, a lot in bed. But a friend of hers made a rest in peace Facebook page for her. And I started getting messages in that month. I literally got 20 messages. And half of them said that they were friends of hers who said they had left their abusers because of what happened to her. And the other half said, "I need help." And I thought, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? You know, what? You know, I'm barely functioning. And I know Scott is going to go to trial. They're already talking to us about this is going to be a death penalty case. Oh, you know what kind of nightmare hell that's going to be. A death penalty case, you know, appeals out the wazoo, even if we get some kind of justice. How long are we going to do this? 10 years?
Right.
I didn't know. And so I have a very strong faith. So I decided to walk my happy butt into church on a Monday a month after she was gone. And I walked right past my pastor's office, and I know he thought I lost my mind. Because he came out going, "Hey, I'm here if you need to talk and stuff." I was like, "Oh, hell no, I don't got nothing to say to you. Just stop right there. You're not the person I want to talk to. I got nothing to say to you." And I had made up my mind that the conversation I was going to have with God, I was going to have it. We were going to do this, you know? And so I walked up that center aisle and threw myself down at the altar at the steps. And I literally started screaming at the top of my lungs, "Why?" Over and over again. Why? And then I said, "I'm going to be right here until you answer me. I want an answer. Why?" And I ended up just like, I call it therapy session at that point, because I was there for 6 hours and I didn't know I was there for 6 hours.
Dang.
Just pouring my heart out saying, "You're going to answer me. I don't give a crap. I am here.
Right.
This is happening." And so by the time I realized I had been there that long, I said, "Well, you know what, God, I'm going to open my Bible. And when I open my Bible, the first thing I read, the first thing I lay my eyes on, I'm going to take that as you speaking to me. So you better make it good." I mean, I was like that. You better make it good, you know, because I want to hear you and I want an answer to this. And I literally opened my Bible to Joel. And I looked at the scripture and it says, "Come to me in your morning with prayer and fasting, and I will comfort you." And I went, "Oh, shit." Yeah, I did. I was like, "Whoa, wait." And so I looked up and I went, "Okay, I'll try you. We'll see." Yeah, I was kind of defiant. We'll see. Because I couldn't imagine any kind of comfort could come
Right.
at that point. And I, you know, and then I said the infamous words that I warn people all the time: watch what you say, because the Lord will answer you in ways you don't ever expect to be answered. So I said, you know, I know Ashley had a great purpose in this life. I know that baby had a great purpose. So I'll do whatever it is if you send it to me, but you have to send it to me. So I know it's what you want me to do. And I went home, I went to bed, and I had this dream. And that's the first time Ashley came to me. I was dreaming that I was before millions, and I mean literally millions of people, telling her story. And when I walked off the stage, it was her. I will tell you, it was her. It wasn't a figment of, I could smell her, I could feel her, I could touch her. She looked like light. She was light. And she said, "Mom, this is what God wants you to do." And I woke up and I went, "Oh, no. I am not a public speaker. This is not happening. You got another thing coming. We're not doing this. I'm not doing this." I went back to sleep. literally hours later, I look up like 10 in the morning to a phone call from a friend I hadn't talked to in years. And she goes, "Hey, I'm doing a women's conference for the Baptist Church in January. This is August. And I know it's only been a month since Ashley had passed, but I'd like you to come speak at this conference and tell Ashley's story." And I went, "Oh, hell. What did I say?" I said, if you brought it, I'd do it. And here it is. And like, I can't say no.
Right.
I can't say no at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's kind of where it all kicked off. And then about a month later, I met Patrick, and like all this stuff started happening. I mean, Ashley's story has literally been like what in Cosmopolitan magazine, 2 different magazines.
Yeah,
in
I did have
England.
that. I think I still have that Cosmo,
Mhm.
but it's in storage over at
Yeah.
Ollie's. Yeah,
A
And me-
magazine in Australia.
Yeah.
It's been
me and Carrie Kramer, and her boyfriend at the time or whatever, we were sitting at a Waffle House over there
yeah.
in Bedford, and we knew it was coming out on a certain day. And so what me and Kramer and her boyfriend did, we went over to Walmart. We said, "Oh, there it is right there," because the picture of Ashley was on the cover.
Mhm.
And so we got the Cosmo, and we took it back to Waffle House with our food still sitting there. And they said, "Well, would y'all like to have warm food?" Sure. So they remade our food, and we went. Yeah, it was cool. And we went back and we started reading everything and said, "Wow, this is gonna be fucking not great,
Mhm.
but it's gonna get the message out."
Right.
And me and Kramer at the time, I mean, we were really concentrating on getting that out together, and then all that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, like I said, Investigation Discovery picked it up. And let me tell
Yeah.
you, that with Investigation Discovery, I didn't realize how big that was going to be, because I have been contacted because of that, because they featured the Ashley Patience Project website at the end of that episode. And so I have
very
been
cool.
contacted literally from every country pretty much you can think of, except the Asian nations, the Oriental countries.
But I knew that you weren't happy with the UK.
What?
With the UK paper.
That one.
Yeah,
the
that
one.
one. Because
one.
that wasn't that like a National Enquirer type.
Wasn't the Sun, was it?
No, it wasn't
No,
the Sun.
it
but
was something else. It
Similar.
was-
They're out of
It's in the
business
sky, dude.
now.
Are they?
No,
I think it was.
UK.
It was Pick Me Up magazine or
Yeah,
something.
something like that.
What
But
made me
you
upset
called
was
me
not
and you were
yeah,
freaking
it wasn't
hot.
the story that made me hot. They took one photo that, they asked for photos, and I sent them photos. But then they went onto my Facebook and pulled a photo that they didn't have permission, and that was the one they put on the front cover, and it was her trying on her wedding dress for him.
Wow.
When we were trying
I
on
remember
wedding
that. You sent me
dresses.
the cover. You sent me the cover page. Yeah.
And that made me hot.
When I was at work that night when you said,
Yeah.
"Look at this! Look at what these fuckers are doing."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that sensationalized it in a way that it didn't need to. I did not like that. It made me hot. Very hot.
Yeah.
It's really fucked up.
And I'm the one that heard it. I mean, I heard it all the way
everybody
fucking
heard
home.
it. Let me tell you.
I heard it all the way fucking home.
Jim heard it more
Jim's
than
waving up there.
anybody.
He's like, "Hold on." Your mic's on.
Hey, just so you know, I heard it just as much as you did.
Yeah.
And she was so hot about that. The big reason she was so hot about that is that they portrayed it in a way that made it into like this fairy tale thing that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Because of
Right.
using that picture. And Tara,
Right.
you need to tell them about what you told me on the way home from the hospital.
Oh, yeah. When we left the hospital that night, let me tell you, when you lose a child like that, this 100-degree heat, it was hot like that
Yeah.
then. 105 at midnight still. And we're leaving the hospital at midnight. And that is the longest, when they say silence can be deafening, I know the definition. I literally do.
Right.
I was looking out the window. We got like an hour and a half to go home. About halfway through it, I think. I was looking at the stars and I'm just staring out the window. Jim's not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. And I turned my head and I looked at him. And the first words out of my mouth was, Satan has fucked up.
Mm.
He has fucked up. And Jim's like, what? What?
I could actually hear and see him go.
Yeah, he was like,
Mic back on.
what? And I'm like, you know what? You know, he expected me to be quiet about this and to take this, and I'm not going to be quiet and I'm not going to take it. He messed up. He messed up. And then everything from that moment on, it was like prophetic, because everything just kind of led from that attitude on, you know. I was so incensed, and of course, you know, I can't stop. So we endured all that stuff with the trial. It didn't end up in a trial. We did take the plea bargain, and the plea bargain was for life, and the judge did the sentencing, and we didn't know what was going to happen with that. I did do that. I did commit myself from that one day to prayer and fasting on every Monday. I would go up to the church, and this is out rural area out there, so my phone didn't pick up nothing when I was at the church. And literally, like Patrick can testify to this because he was getting phone calls about it too. I would come out of that church on Monday, my phone would blow up, and whatever I had prayed about was the answer was on my phone when I finally got signal. Literally, it was happening every Monday. Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Seriously.
My husband started dubbing it Miracle Mondays.
Nice.
You know?
Eminem.
Oh, careful what you ask for.
Yes.
So, real quick,
So, yeah.
the audience has been commenting their support. I just wanted to kind of go over a couple of these real fast. Lindsay said, I'm so sorry for the pain you and your family went through and are still feeling. Audrey said, you're such an incredibly strong mother and warrior for Ashley and Patience. Your testimony is very powerful.
Oh, I know,
so
Audrey.
powerful.
I love you, lady. She's one of my board members over at Break the Silence.
And when you're talking about, you know, hearing God and he gave you that message, and they're talking about Tori saying he's speaking straight to you. Byron, he was like, amen. Yes, he'll bring you through it. Tori, again, you were getting messages to fulfill her purpose. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of more amens, of course. So yeah, our audience is 100% behind.
Oh yeah,
her,
and I know she has a hand. You know, imagine this: a child is a tenacious spirit like her mother. So like over the years, I have literally gotten messages. I get private messages all the time from people wanting help. Wanting out, wanting to know what to do. But I get special messages every once in a while, and it's usually a pregnant woman, almost like I would say 95% of the time. And these people don't know each other. And I don't put out in public, and I won't here now either, to say what Ashley says to them. But they will dream about her, and she says something to them, and then they contact me. And every person says the same. She says the same thing to each and every one of them. And how they know. There's no way, none of them know each other. And it's been years, you know. So I know my daughter has a hand in. Yeah, I can imagine my daughter the way she was up there going, oh, God, let me have that one. Let me have that one. I can handle this. You know, I can help save this one. Let me get them to my mother, because my mother's going to do something about that one.
Yep.
And that's kind of the way I look at it. You know, there's so much, you know, there's a lot of, you don't overcome something like this. You just learn to exist with it. I tell people all the time, when you lose a child, I've had some pretty horrendous things said to me over the years, so many insensitive things. But when you lose a child, it's like losing an arm. You lose a piece of yourself. And imagine going up to somebody who's lost an arm and saying, oh, get over it.
Yeah.
Or you need to move on from it.
But I think the arm is a bad analogy. It's more like a piece of your heart.
Oh yeah, you lose a piece of your heart. A piece of my heart is always with her. But I mean something that you can see physically.
Right.
You know, you're handicapped in a way. And then people expect you to just move on like it was nothing.
Right.
And I have learned to use the other arm.
Right.
But I'm never going to get back what I lost.
So you need to live, but can't just move on.
No,
you
and
know what I
then-
mean? Like
yeah.
you can't. Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
something you can.
So one of the greatest blessings I have received in the work I was doing, like I said, Rachel got married after, we were going through court and trial, and they were appealing everything because they actually charged Scott with 3 counts of first-degree murder, including for the baby, for Chad and Ashley. They charged him with, the theft of the vehicle, the theft of robbery stuff for taking the money and the cell phones, that kind of thing. They charged Josh's mom with harboring
Good.
for
Yeah.
her part.
I was hoping that she got something.
Okay, so
Sure.
Yes.
how did they? Is it because Scott got the gun for Josh? Is that how they were able to tie murder charges to him? Or
He killed Chad.
well, no, I mean, so
Scott.
the 3 charges from Chad.
No, he got charged for Chad, charged for Ashley, and charged because
Yeah,
he used the gun in the commission of
Okay.
a murder,
Okay,
and then he gave the gun to commit 2 more murders to somebody else.
Totally, okay.
So
Yep.
and plus they had in the text messages the proof of how they intended to commit this whole thing together.
Okay, I'm following.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So was that premeditated? Then?
yeah,
Yep.
yes,
Yeah.
and that they were planning on trying to leave the country, and
Holy shit.
yes, and Josh killed himself instead. So,
Jesus.
yeah, it was a mess. So we went through that, and like they were appealing over the baby, whether the baby was a life or not. Those appeals went clear up to the state of Oklahoma Supreme Court, and we won on that. So he had to face those charges. He didn't like it, but he had to do it. And we went through all of that, and in the end, he ended up with he got the 3 counts. We agreed on that instead of going through the death penalty, the 2 families, if he would plead guilty. And the judge decided how long the sentence would go, and the judge came back and said, based off, we got to give victims impact statements, right, to help facilitate that with the judge. And the judge came back after mine. The whole courtroom was like crazy, but because I had a lot to say to him, and I got to face him and say it. And the judge said that was the most heinous crime he'd ever seen, ever heard. The most that he was, that he just could not fathom what would make somebody do things like that. And so he sentenced him to 3 consecutive life sentences.
Yes.
0 possibility of parole.
0 possibility
Awesome.
of parole. Now the mother, that was another story. We had to fight that one because the assistant DA had that case, not the DA at first.
Uh-huh.
And I'm definitely one of those people. I was at every court date, because nobody's gonna get one over on me.
No,
This
I
is
hear
my
you.
kid.
Gotcha.
And they tried to. Oklahoma has a law, victims advocacy laws, that they can't do a plea deal without the victims' families. Unless the victims' families aren't there when you do the plea deal. Well, I was there.
Oh, yeah.
And they
Yeah.
didn't do the plea deal while I was there. They waited till I left the courthouse and sneakily started talking to the lawyer.
For the mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, hell no. And so, like, my mother was with me. Like I said, this is one of the times that was like, this is extremely funny. My mother's sitting there going, your temper. Don't lose your
Put the
temper.
gun back.
Put the gun
Yeah.
back in your purse.
Yeah, she's
No, I
like,
hear
Put it
you.
back in the house.
Let's go
That's good.
talk to him and see what he offered her. So we sit down and we're like, okay, so what did you offer her? A year deferred.
Oh my God! It's not a fucking speeding ticket.
And I'm sitting there going,
CWI gets more than that.
I
Yeah.
was in such shock it just shut me down for a second. My mother immediately jumped up with her hands on his desk, got into his face and goes, what is wrong with you? She's losing it. And I'm like,
So,
Who the
Mom,
fuck do you think
Your mom
you are?
inherited your temper.
Mom, you better sit down.
Mom, calm down.
Calm
Calm down. And she's like, why would you do that? And he goes, well, I just think any mother would have done that for her child.
Oh,
Yeah, and he's
shit.
psycho mom. This
Yeah.
is the reason why the kid is the way he is.
Well, this is the woman that
Yeah.
we literally confronted her about Ashley being abused.
Mhm.
And she looked me in the face and said, if your daughter wasn't so mouthy, she wouldn't get hit.
I wonder if
I would have, if I were you, I'd have been like, "Well, you're
When you
mouthy
told
now."
me that, when you told me that, I was
God.
at, I think I was at work.
was his mom beat.
Hold on.
I'm wondering the
Okay.
story. Yeah, there's
Wait.
obviously she's
Yeah, when
That
you
makes-
told me that,
That's a
I think
perpetuation.
I think the next thing I said,
just like everything else we were. Yeah,
I think the next thing I asked Tara was, "Well, did you hit her?"
yeah, I know. Like
Yeah.
you literally,
I
you just
was-
gave me the green light.
fucking want to.
Yeah, you just
I
gave me the
wanted to.
green light to knock you the fuck out.
I was
Ding, ding,
this.
ding.
Hey, is my mic? My mic is
I can hear
something's
it.
up with my mic.
I hear it.
What's up with it? We hear you fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, we hear
We
you.
I
talking
can't
about-
hear myself. I can't hear nobody.
it's your headphones, bro.
Yeah, it's
Your headphones. You probably unplugged your headphones, genius.
I did.
You're right. This is funny.
Okay, y'all can laugh at
Episode
that.
130,000.
I can hear Jimmy.
God, the show's off. Meanwhile, it's playing.
Yeah, she had. I came that close to going to jail that day too. It was.
Oh man.
It was something. So
Oh,
we
boy.
just we went through that with her, and we were like, wait, what? And he goes, well, I think she did what any mother would have done, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And my mother's just lost it at this point. My mother's just off the rails,
She
and I
did
was
what
like,
any mother
wow.
would've done, like-
And
What, harboring a fugitive and
she's like going, I had 6
Right.
children and 2 of them are boys, and if any of my children would have done that, I would turn their asses in. And my mother cussed, and I never heard my mother cuss since I was like 6. And I'm sitting there going, what?
say what?
And
Ah, shit.
I was like, wow. And so he's like, well, she hasn't accepted it yet. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't she? What a sweet deal that is, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't take it lying down. I went to social media and I broadcasted that crap
Oh, hell yeah, she
all
did.
over social media.
I saw every fucking post, Tara.
And people from all over came at that assistant DA, and they came to me telling me stories about how that assistant DA had been there for 20 years and that he consistently would go against domestic violent women in domestic violence, because what he would do was want them to either go out to dinner with him or do sexual favors, and if they didn't, he would rule against them.
So
Hell yeah,
So,
that's
yeah.
just great.
So-
Wow.
Yeah.
This,
So-
once again, the political
so probably-
system,
so
everything's
probably-
fucking corrupt.
Christ,
next
man.
step was, if I remember, he resigned.
Well, what happened was, of course,
What had happened was,
I went to at first I went to
Or you
that
got him fired.
that DA advocate that was helping me with Ashley, and told her what this guy was doing, and she said, let me contact the DA. And the DA was Craig Glad up there at the time, and he contacted me
Right.
back, and I said, look, he violated my victim's rights. I can sue the state, I can sue your office. He was not allowed to give that plea deal without me there, and I was there. And he did not ask my, and then he's doing this, and here's all the evidence from these other cases. And he said, let me look into this. And 2 weeks later, he was resigning and had lost his job and, all of that. So I got rid of that assistant DA. Like, he was out of there. So,
the sad part is that's just one of many,
oh yeah.
and that's
Yeah, it happens way
And
too often.
just as bad, if not
and there's
worse.
DAs.
Yeah. What's up? What are you pointing at?
Yeah, hey, there you are.
No, I pointed at him because I sent him a picture.
Mhm.
Devin, sometimes he uses it like GPS. He's like, Devin is here.
Yeah, I do.
I'm here.
Right there. Right
There's so
there.
many
Right there. Right
things.
there. Right there.
There's so many things
Alex
within
up there.
the system.
Kayla's over there.
There's so many things in the system, like the police report. When
Uh-huh.
you read the police report on that day,
Mhm.
they list a cause of the homicide. What's the cause?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you know what Oklahoma put on there?
What?
A lover's quarrel.
Oh, I remember.
Oh God.
When I got a hold of that paperwork, I just about lost my shit.
Yes,
you
you
know, a lover's quarrel, hiding out for a month and a half, trying to save her and her baby, and it's a lover's quarrel. That's what they listed
That
it
is
as.
not
Her cause of death is a lover's quarrel, officially.
Mm.
So, but on the good,
So what number flag are we on? Like 30 something
Oh, yeah.
by now?
this is why.
God,
This is
Stop
why.
counting. Yeah.
You know, just last year.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's like it's
Like,
insane. You and
legitimately.
it's like
Like
the
you
perfect
can't make this shit
storm.
up. Like that's what's
No,
fucked up.
no, you
Well, it
can't.
sounds like a script. It sounds
Yeah.
like somebody writing a fucked up script. It
I
really
wrote the
does.
fucking script. I wrote the fucking script. Me and Tara stayed up all night one night,
I'm-
at least until 1:00 in the morning, talking,
Mhm.
and I wrote the fucking
It's
script.
like just when you think it can't get any worse.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. I mean, there was a shit ton. I think this was all before. Before Josh Scott went to trial.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was all before
Mhm.
Josh went to trial.
Mhm.
What was that? Everything that I was writing. I mean, all the way up to when McAfee did what he did. You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. But the
Yeah.
saddest thing that gets me is like her story is a little more like the worst case scenario
Yeah.
of everything, but it's not
But it
far.
happens.
Yeah, but it's not far fetched from what everybody else experiences.
Oh yeah.
So like, every time I tell her story out there and survivors hear it or victims hear it, there's always some aspect of it that they can relate
Mm-hmm.
within their own.
I mean, even Kayla was
Story.
saying there. Look at her. What?
What?
Name? Huh?
What? Why?
She was saying that there's parts that, like, she could relate to because she got a daughter that's 20
Uh-huh.
that is going to school in Oklahoma.
Oh, Oklahoma's armpit of Satan.
Did you hear that?
Okay, so what's Florida?
What about it?
What's Florida? What's Texas? And
Florida is the dick, Texas is the balls, and California's the asshole.
okay, so Oklahoma is the armpit or the crevice.
Really?
I do have some people I love
they-
in Oklahoma.
If
I have to
if I
say,
could
but-
take Oklahoma and just put it on the other side of the panhandle, it would be the fucking the chode.
The chill.
If you want to talk about a pit.
Yeah, so yeah, it's just incredible. But and to leave people, I always like to leave people with stuff about the blessings that can come out of such tragedy. Number one, of course, I have a way closer relationship with God and and Ashley, but things like out of those miracle Mondays, Patrick will tell you because he was there to experience all of that. After Rachel got married, I literally went on that Monday after she got married and went in my therapy session with God and said, you know what? I am 45 years old and I know I'm getting older, but I need a baby in my life. I need not just any baby. I need a little girl. If I'm going to heal and you're going to comfort me, I have to have a little girl. And she's got to be exactly like this. And I laid out every detail. I ain't kidding you. I got real specific.
It's going down like this.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen just like this.
I
Yeah,
gotcha.
just like this. I need this child. And then I said, you know what? If I'm too old for this and we can't do this, because Jim and I tried for a child, we had 3 miscarriages and just never could have a child together. I said, well, Rachel just got married, so maybe it's a grandchild. Right? Maybe I need this grandchild and I need this little girl to heal. And then on a side note, I threw in and went, oh, by the way, maybe a second little girl too, about the same age difference as Rachel is to Ashley, because they were best friends.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good age difference, not quite 3 years apart, but, not so far apart that they aren't close, but not, too close that they're competing. I always thought it was a perfect age difference. I said, oh, by the way, if you can throw in another one, that would be nice.
A 2-for-1 special.
Yeah. It was like a side note in my brain,
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. And so Rachel comes to see me for Mother's Day, and she's like, I feel sick. I said, yeah, you're pregnant. And she's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, oh yeah, you are. God and I talked about this.
God, not talk.
And she's like,
You just don't know it yet.
uh-huh.
I said,
That's
look
what
here,
I told
Lord.
her. That's what I told her. You don't
Really?
know it yet. And she goes, no. And I literally said this. I said, no, sweetie, your ass is getting bigger. You're pregnant.
Your ass is like a bay window.
I bet you she liked that one.
And she's like,
No, it's not.
Mom.
My ass is not getting bigger.
And I'm like,
Shit.
no, I know. And a week
Damn.
later, she comes back and she goes, I took a pregnancy test. I said, yeah, you're pregnant. She goes, I am. I said, you got to go to the doctor. She said, I said, you're a month along. I said, you're a month along and it's a girl. And she's like, no, you can't. She got real defiant. You can't tell me what it is. You don't know everything.
Hey, I'm already 1 for 1.
I'm like, oh, no. So
Yep.
she goes to the doctor and says, no, you're about a month along. And then the sonogram came at
2
like
for 1.
3.5 months. And she asked me to come with her. I went with her and my son-in-law,
Yes,
Billy. And I'm
and-
sitting there and I'm
and?
waiting. And the doctor goes, it's a girl. And I said,
3 for 3. That perfect.
Hell, man.
So here's this little girl, and like I was ecstatic. And Lainey, Rachel and Billy did not pick out her name. Even we knew her middle name was going to be Marie, and the reason for that is because like middle names is what's handed down in my family, and I have my middle name is Lynn. It was my aunt's middle name. I gave it to Rachel. Mary and Marie is also handed down, and Ashley's name is Ashley Marie. And so Rachel and Ashley came up with this agreement that we're going to give our first daughters the opposite. You give them my middle name, and I'm going to give her your middle name. So, Patience was Patience Lynn after Rachel's middle name. And so when Lainey was coming, we knew her middle name would be Marie, but they hadn't changed. They hadn't picked the first name. And I'm like chomping at the bit about what are you going to name this poor child? Well, the night before she has the child and she's in the hospital being induced, Billy says, oh, we chose Lainey. And I'm like, Lainey? And I'm like, why Lainey? And see, when I prayed for that little girl, this is the thing I said, very specific words. I said, I need a little girl to be the light in my world. Well, when I looked up Lainey on my phone, because I'm going, Lainey, what does Lainey mean? Lainey means the light of the world.
Wow, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And then Ella comes along, and she's pregnant with Ella. And Ella is born to the day, the exact number of days apart from Lainey as Rachel is from Ashley.
Wow.
And I said, that's God.
Yeah.
That's God blessing me.
Yeah.
So, I feel like, I understand what Job went through on that level of that kind of heartache, but then God blessing you back with what you need. Because Lainey is everything I prayed for. That girl is definitely. And then I thought, like, I couldn't love another child the way I loved Lainey. Lainey and I are still. That child, she's 8 years old and she's planning.
Oh,
she's been
good
planning.
God, is
She's
she?
been planning for.
Oh my God.
Yeah, do the math there,
Oh,
Patrick.
God.
She's 8 years old and
8.
she's been planning since she was 4 about how she's going to move in with me and what we're going to do together. She's been trying to talk her dad into running the zip line across the highway
Hell
over to
yeah.
our house.
I think Jim wants to talk.
Oh, wait, hold on,
got
Jim.
something to say.
All right, Jim.
I'm bringing you in.
All right.
All right, there you go.
All right, Terry, you need to tell them Ella's real name because it's not just Ella. It's Hurricane Ella.
It's Hurricane Ella. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. This is where God gets you on this, because I was like, I don't know if I can love another child the way I love Lainey, and Lainey and I are just so close, and we do everything together. This is where God has a sense of humor, because guess whose personality Ella has?
Yours.
Mine.
It's the name
Mine.
Hurricane Ella.
We start calling her. Hey, Jim, we'll start calling her. Calling Tara Hurricane Tara.
Hurricane
Yeah.
Tara.
Hurricane
Yeah, well,
Tara.
they both call me Sasquatch, so.
Yeah, Ashley started the Sasquatch stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they call him Papa Sasquatch.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a mouthful.
Yeah, but no, Ella's got my personality, and Rachel's all like, why does she have to be so like you? I said, because God has a sense of humor. When I'm dead, you still have a part of me around.
Yeah. Yeah.
You still got your mother there. Have fun with that.
Wait. Oh, God. Do what?
You never ever stop grieving when you lose a child.
No, you don't.
But when the granddaughters come along, they don't fill that hole in your heart that the daughter you lost left, but they create a whole new section of your heart to open you back up to love in a way that you didn't think you could again.
where you feel like you can
Well said.
receive joy again.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
I can
Yeah.
totally respect that 100%.
yeah,
Absolutely.
where you can actually sit and receive joy again into your life and accept it, because
Yeah.
it's really hard to accept joyous moments when you're grieving and somebody's there, and then they're removed and they're not there again anymore. So it brings a whole perspective, and the girls know all about Ashley. I mean, actually, Lainey
looks a
Lainey,
little bit like Ashley.
yeah,
Yeah, she does.
she does. But Lainey, even from a young age, she was a year and a half, and we hadn't, she'd seen pictures of her Aunt Ashley and known all that, but Lainey didn't know about my prayer. Lainey didn't know that I felt like God sent her for me or any of that. And Lainey, at a year and a half, went, God sent me to you. I was like, yeah, I know that. She goes, no, I mean it. God told me. He sent. I'm here for you.
Wow.
And so Lainey has always been real intuitive on that level. So yeah, she's pretty special. That little girl. She's
Yeah.
a hot mess. But
Yeah, I've seen pictures. I've seen pictures of Lainey and you and Ella and all that. Everybody. I mean, even when I was in Florida, I mean, I was even when I was away, I was still keeping in just watching. Even if I didn't talk to you or talk to Jim or anybody else, I was just watching.
Mhm.
And everything. I just had to. You know why I had to get
Mhm.
away. So does Devin. So, I mean, and I was happy for you, and I was happy for Jim, and I was happy for Rachel. Sorry, that's my sister's name.
Yeah,
So,
I know. I know that.
and I say Rach. So I don't know where I was going with that, but
Willow
I mean-
kind of threw you off.
yeah, Willow threw me off.
She does that.
But no, I mean, I watched, and there was a couple times where we talked when I was in Florida
Oh yeah.
and everything about, yeah,
I was checking on you because you had a lot of health problems.
right. And I blame, you know who I blame. So
Well, there's a lot of factors, but that was the leading one.
that was a little one.
Amen.
That was the big one.
Comes
Yeah.
up.
That was the big one. That was a big factor.
Yep.
Mhm.
So, it just
So,
Why they
it just
call
all
it
got
X
to me.
factor.
But anyway, so
so
yeah.
Man.
So now you kind of out there, why I do what I do, why we're with the national organization, why it's important. Like this organization I'm with Break the Silence, we help other families like mine as well. So like the scholarship program right now, that is a really big deal for these families to have. And so we're hoping to meet our goals. And if anybody can help with that, please check that out. Because that's a very special program to help. It helps the families heal. Because what we do is we allow the families to contact the scholarship recipient, and they talk to them about their loved one and what they and the scholarship recipient is a survivor. So like a lot of these recipients get to see from the families that this love and support, it becomes like a second family, like a surrogate family, and the families are able to help these people in a way that they couldn't help their children. So like we get to see these people graduate, through our efforts from college, and we get to see them have healthy lives and healthy relationships. And so it does a lot for the healing of these families to be able to do that and associate themselves with that. So it's really a beautiful program, I feel. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Awesome.
So, to anyone still listening to us, as far as women, mothers in general, out of like, and you may use this or whatnot, or may have said this at prior discussions and presentations, but what is your biggest piece of it? I mean, outside of the obvious, I mean, we kind of know certain things, but what is your biggest piece of advice to anyone that could be, going through this right now personally, and maybe leading into a possible situation? Not like you said, it doesn't happen every single time, but there are scary similarities.
Right.
Red flags.
Yeah. If you're in an abusive situation, you've got to take the time a lot of times to just, if you're in the situation where it's like extremely abusive right then, get out right then. But if you're listening and you're not under, like, he's not beating you currently at this moment, then you take the time to make a plan. Take the time to make a plan and make the plan safely, and believe that they will and can kill you. It's that important. You have to have that mindset.
And never cover for their asses. God, that's the one thing that I hear over and over again, is that they always make excuses and they always try to cover and they always try to vouch and they always try, and it's just like,
well, it's because they have real love and affection for this person, but the person is not who they believe they are, and they get so there's lots of different dynamics depending upon the abuse and the person that they suffered. Like, I stayed 13 years, and I rationalized the fact that he was diagnosed with a mental illness. And when he was on the medication, we had 2-3 years that were really good and nothing like went on. And so when he came off the medication and started back into that, I just kept thinking, I got to get him back in this medication. I got to get, the apple didn't fall too far from the tree, because Ashley, you love somebody and you think you just get them this help. I was like really in love with my ex, with his potential.
So I was going to address that. So two
Yeah.
things. I was going to address that because women have this mentality that I can change him. I can, or they use all these good times, and then they stop thinking about all the bad times and they get hyper fixated on all the good times, and then they let that. And so what I've done in the past with other people is I say, write a pros and cons list, because you're going to open your own eyes and you're not going to realize it, because you start writing the pros and you start writing the cons, and then you cover the cons and look at the pros and like, is it worth staying? And then you cover the pros and look at the cons, and then you say to yourself, is it really worth? And what I've had 9 times out of 10, they look at the pros and the cons way outweigh the pros,
right?
And that's when you just say, it's literally written in paper now. You put pen to paper. You need to walk the fuck away. Like, get out of that situation.
Yeah, but it's really hard because you get into a cycle of like this manipulation and this gaslighting, and they get you doubting. I mean, with my ex, he was not one where he didn't want me to physically be marred anywhere where somebody could see it, right? And for him, he always had to have an excuse. So the excuse, he was 6'1", 250 pounds, and back then I was teeny and didn't even weigh 100 pounds. And he would always follow me around from room to room arguing. I would try to get away from it, and he would back me into a corner or against the wall where I couldn't get away. And then I would shove him to try to get past him, and then it was on.
Right.
You touched
me. You put your hands on me.
You put your hands on me.
Yeah.
You started this. You initiated this. And for a while, I bought into it. I really bought into it. And, because of my history and family background, I thought I deserved this on some level because I was unlovable.
Except for I was the one in the room locking myself in there, and she's beating down the door.
I felt unlovable. I felt unlovable in my mother's eyes. Never good enough. I had abandonment issues. I felt unlovable to a father. I had just kept piling it on me and thinking he had potential and he was really great underneath and like all of these things. And I kept rationalizing it. And then by the time I wasn't willing to rationalize it anymore and make excuses, I come from that time period back. It was before the laws we have now. So when I would call the cops, I only called the cops, I think 3 times. And when I did call them, it was, takes 2 to tango, or, the 2, you just need to part. You need to take a walk. He needs to take a walk. You both need to cool off. You need some space.
Yeah.
And
so
that's
you
all
can walk
that would
right
happen.
back into the same fiery
They
inferno.
kind of sound like Petito. Yep.
So
it still happens. That's what I'm saying. It still happens.
Well, yeah, it still
But the problem is, it's like,
So how do you leave that when you're being told, even from the authorities, of like, okay,
Y'all
Yeah.
just need to calm down.
you just need to calm down.
Just need to have a water break.
Yeah,
Sit down, have a couple slices of pizza, and talk about your feelings.
right.
No, that's
So, and
not the way it works.
That shit don't work,
It-
man.
And
Well, I
he
know.
always backed
But in
it.
their mind,
have
it
a,
does.
have a Coke and a smile. Everything will be working. You know, it's like, fuck.
It's
And-
like what Eddie said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up.
Mhm.
I saw it in Bad Boys. I don't know who
Yeah.
said it first.
Oh yeah, okay. Sorry, Tara.
But he will always
That
back
was
it with
Eddie
like
Murphy.
he was going to kill himself too. So I'm so sorry. I should never ever put my hands on you. So I feel so bad. I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to kill myself.
So
And he
that's-
would get a gun and hold it to himself, or a knife, and the last time, that time with Ashley in the bathroom, he wasn't living with us. We were separated at that time, and I sent the girls across the street because to me it was like, what, I'm not going to call the cops. What are they going to do? They're going to tell him takes two to fight, and you guys are going through a divorce, right? So I sent the girls across the street to the park, and he's laying there with a knife going, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to kill myself. And I looked at him, and that's when the switch changed definitely inside of me, because I looked at him and said, do it. I said, do it.
mother-
Yes. I
Yeah.
said, do it and save us all the trouble. I don't care anymore.
Right.
And he went, oh my gosh, I can't believe you would say that to me. And I was like, I've been listening to this for 13 years. Why in
She's
the
like,
world?
are you retarded?
Just
are you
do
special?
it.
Sorry,
There you go.
well,
Can't say that.
Just do it already. I'm
2022, my
sick
bad.
I'm sick of hearing you.
Yeah.
And he was like so like appalled by that, and I was just like, no, I'm over this. You've put your hands on. It was different when he put his hands on my child. That was just
Yeah.
was the final.
That's a straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah. And I was leaving him and stuff, but I tell people all the time, it wasn't because of the abuse, because I felt in some way I deserved it. I left because of all the cheating. Seriously.
Compound it.
I mean, if
Pile it on.
if there's any reason to do
Yeah.
I agree with that reason.
Oh,
Yeah. So so I understand.
I
There's
relate
multiple.
to that reason.
There's multiple reasons, and part
Yeah.
of why I waited even then was if I had left earlier the way he was. He had some real mental issues going on and some other things that I was afraid for the girls. What could he do to the girls, and then they wouldn't be able to come back and tell me at younger ages?
Right.
So by the time I left him, Rachel was 13 and Ashley was 10. So I felt like if something did happen, they were going to come tell me. Especially, well, you saw Ashley. Don't let that SOB back in the house, Mom.
Yeah. Right.
So, So I hate when people go, well, why didn't you leave? Because every situation is so unique that sometimes it's just not the right time. That something worse is going to happen, and you try to. It's a part of a survival mode. That you're just living in a survival mode, and it's just as bad and just as ugly and desperate as it was for Ashley for that month and a half who was hiding.
Yeah.
It's just a longer term.
I have a coworker that it's not to this level, but was married to a narcissist, and it was very very mentally abusive,
Mhm.
and it's been almost 20 plus years, and she's you got to imagine what that's like for her to roll out of her comfort zone. It takes courage, but she finally is enough's enough, and she but it's not the same, but still it's another form of abuse.
Mhm.
But it's you get to you end up, like you said, you put up with it for so long, and then finally something ends up snapping you out of it. So
Yeah, well, it would
And-
very much liken it to like, what if you were out in the desert and what would you do to survive? Would you kill something? Would you do this to would you eat this? Would you even go to the extent of you hear stories about like the Donner Party eating each other and stuff in order to survive, and like it's really really into that, very much that survival mode
Did you say
for a
Don-
woman.
Did she say Dahmer?
Yeah.
Donner.
Donner.
Yeah.
Donner.
Yeah, back
Oh.
to years and
Oh,
years
yeah,
ago
yeah.
If there's
in California.
a group of us and one
But-
of us died, I get it. But if there's just
But
two of
it's
us,
very
please don't
much
eat me.
it's a whole mentality of,
No, because then I'm going to stare at a volleyball.
that
Aim at
you-
Wilson.
you get into this whole thing of
And taste chicken.
this is what I've got to do to survive.
Right.
And there's no, sometimes you can't rationalize with a person when they're in that mode.
Yep.
But my saying right here, ready? You can't rationalize with irrational people.
That's why I can't.
Greatest
That's why
advice
I
ever.
can't rationalize with him.
Well,
That's why I can't either.
there is so much,
And the horse you both rode in on.
yeah. There's so much.
Hold on.
Sorry.
There's so
Jim
much
wants to say
trauma and there's so much PTSD associated with it. The PTSD that goes on for
Hey, Sarah,
survivors
yeah,
of domestic
yeah.
violence is as bad as a war zone. And so, trying to survive in that mode, every person who is a survivor out there, I give you props, no matter what you've been through or how you survived it. You have survived it. Those who are in it, do what you have to do to survive it, get out, and there's help.
Jim, what were you going to say?
I was adding to what Tara just said. To those that are survivors out there, there is residual that will hang around for years. Me and Tara have been married 16 years, and there's still times that I can do something or say something that will trigger things from her previous relationships. And, me and her have the most amazing marriage that I could have ever dreamed of. But you have to
Awesome.
understand
Congratulations.
Aw.
if you marry somebody that has been through this kind of trauma, you have to know up front that there are things that will trigger. And when those happen, you have to talk about it with that person. And they have to be willing to talk to you.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, one of the things
Those
I have
aliens,
learned.
man.
I know.
Yeah, those
I know.
aliens.
Yeah.
Over there.
That's
Is he
one
over
of
there
the-
by Roswell, isn't he? Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
getting in our
Yeah.
heads. That's what's
Okay.
going on. We
That's
don't have
what-
our foil cap. on.
I tease them about that all the time, that they might come get him. I don't like him staying out there.
Yeah.
But we talk about that kind of thing all the time. Like, there's one of the funny. Him and I laugh about this now, but one of the worst fights we ever had was on our first year of marriage, and we're arguing and stuff, and I was so mad at him, and he loves to tell the story. I was so
I was going to say he had a smile on
mad
his face.
at
So.
him, and I was just standing there with
Yep, see, there it is.
Yeah,
Yep.
there it is.
with my
smirk.
fist. I had
Yep.
my fist all balled up, shaking like this, and in his face, like, I'm not going to be intimidated by you, kind of, And he looked at me and he started smiling, and he goes, "You're so cute when you're angry." And he picked me up and kissed me, and I was like, "What is wrong with you?"
We're supposed to be arguing, damn it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "You just deflated the whole purpose of me being mad with you. What is wrong with you?" And he's just
He
like,
took the power back.
And he's like, "Baby, what's right with you?"
Everything.
but
Yeah.
you go through certain things, like, as a survivor, I hit that fight or flight mode. And even through the first year of our marriage, every time we'd argue, I'd pack a bag.
Yeah.
I'd be like, "I'm out of here. I'm not arguing with you. I'm leaving this situation. I'm gone." And about a year of that he put up with. And then one day he looked at me, and he pulled out a suitcase. As I pulled out mine, was packing. I said, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Well, if you're leaving, I'm going with you, because I ain't staying here without you." And I was like, it triggered something in my brain of like, "Oh Lord, what am I doing? I'm reacting
Mhm.
in a way that I'm creating this situation because out of my fear and out of the trauma that I endured, that it's impacting him, and he's never done anything to me
Mhm.
on that level." And from that day on, I've never done that.
So this goes back to one of my other sayings. Don't make a permanent decision based on a temporary emotion.
Yeah.
And so that's basically what you were doing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Never
Another
make
Devinism.
decisions when you're pissed off.
One of those fucking Devinisms, man. Damn those Devinisms.
Damn, Devin.
You've heard it said the same way like 80 times before, but Devin like puts a different word in. And he's like Devinism.
Yeah, fuck these Devinisms. I'm tired of them.
Some life help. For
Yeah.
Devin.
But there's certain things you learn, and in relationships you learn how to deal with that together. I know one of the first things I told him was when we started dating, don't ever call me bitch. Don't ever, and he doesn't. That was so derogatory within my first relationship that I can't handle that.
Right.
But he had certain things like with his first relationship that trigger him too, that I can't do, that his first wife did, as well. So, learning those things and knowing that you love that person enough to not do those things.
He's laughing.
Of course he is.
Yeah. What flavor you got there, Jim?
Ashley says, haha, Devin, you sound like my dad.
Oh,
Ashley, shut your face.
you sound like
Yeah.
a dad.
Oh,
I know I'm never going to hear the end of this at work tomorrow.
Yeah. But which part? Which
Probably the Devinism thing.
Yeah, the Devinism. I think Jim is trying to say something again.
Oh, is he?
What
Okay.
flavor you got there, Jim? You got unicorn.
Got alien flavor.
No, I got menthol, and I started out on a 32 milligram, and I'm all the way down to a 3 milligram.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
It's
I thought it
taking
was
me
like unicorn.
Unicorn poop?
Yeah, unicorn.
Gonna literally
You know-
say that.
Unicorn.
Patrick, you know how much I used to smoke. I was smoking 3 packs a day.
Oh yeah.
So, you know,
It's not cigarettes.
That's
He's
awesome.
smoking a skinny cigar.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. When we met, it was a mini cigars. Yeah. Yeah.
Lung busters right there.
Yeah, I used to smoke the cigar cloves, the Dijon Black.
You've been smoking them shit forever.
I was, and I stopped about 2 years ago.
Deb,
That's fair enough.
Year and a half ago. What are you
I've
looking over
got
there?
one other mechanism for you.
Oh, he's got one
6
more
what,
Devin.
years?
Jim says he's got a
Oh.
Devinism for you.
Uh-oh. Oh, let me hear.
what's the
It's called a transformer, and Sarah can tell you later what it is.
Oh, I ain't
Transformer?
even gonna go there.
a Jiminism?
Devin's all like the grass isn't always greener on the other side. It's
See what-
depending on.
What he just said?
What?
There was just an orb or a light behind Tara.
I don't think.
Oh, now we're gonna have to go to
Uh-oh.
timestamp.
Is Ashley here?
I don't
Sarah
know.
does line
Look
up.
at me fucking up earlier on her side.
He's always with me. I know it.
Yeah.
I'm telling y'all, she lights up every once in a while. She lit my whole world up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So when you feel her around you, is it warm or is it chill?
Depends.
Okay.
It just depends.
Because I'm kind of hot right now.
I'm a little warm.
Yeah. It gets a little warm in here.
feels warm like right here, but then again, this thing's.
It's more like it's more like how like when you're scared you have the hairs on the
Now
back
that
of your
makes me
neck
want to go
stand
back and
up.
look.
Yeah, I was just looking at my legs.
When Ashley
my left leg is like that.
with Ashley it's more like a tingle kind of up my spine.
Oh,
Like
okay.
when I kind of feel like
No shit.
it's near, yeah.
I like had it in
That's
my
awesome.
foot, and my leg, man. What's up with that?
Apparently, I
Yeah.
can't feel.
Oh, that's my
spirit.
sciatic nerve.
And also I find myself unconsciously when I do feel like this cross I wear is hers. I put it on when she died and I don't take it off. And so like I will sometimes when I realize I'm feeling her presence because I'm unconsciously doing this. And when I'm doing it, I don't know, like I'm all of a sudden going, why am I doing that? I'll be tugging on it, doing this and this and this. And I'm like, I feel like I feel her energy when that happens. Something it's like now I pick up on it to where I can go, oh, okay.
Whoa, see that?
So
What?
You saw that, Andy, right? Okay.
As soon as she
You-
snapped, she
As soon as you did, like literally,
that light went blink.
Which one? Which lot flipped?
you didn't
That
see
light,
that?
that light was.
Dude, you saw it too, right?
Was it that one? That
Dude,
flipped?
that was
flickered?
creepy. That just gave me all sorts of goosebumps.
It didn't flicker. It like got
It went
bright.
boom like that, and then it
It's
back to
never done
normal.
that. At least
Ever.
not that I remember.
never ever, not in 133 episodes.
That's pretty.
34.
134 episodes.
See,
Yeah.
usually
Wow.
spirits run from me. I went and investigated the Conjuring
That's 'cause you're
house,
an asshole.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Facts.
and the only thing we
Fact check
the
that.
only thing we found was a child spirit, and it kept running from me. It didn't like me.
Yeah.
We talked to the owner, and we're like, have you ever had anything malevolent here? And he's like, with the tours and the stuff that we do so often, we have to live here quite often out of the year. He goes, and if we really felt like it was malevolent, we probably wouldn't live here. And so,
Right.
and so, yeah. So, but everywhere that it would interact with anybody else in the group, if I would go and try to talk to it, it would fucking take off.
It's like I said, Andy, because you're an asshole.
See, Tori is saying that it happened back when I was talking about leaving gym and packing my bag.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see it.
Oh,
I've only seen it. When
Ashley did not like.
Yeah,
Ashley didn't like when we argued because she would be like, "I'm going to pick Dad."
Yeah.
You make me pick, I'm going to pick Dad. I'm like, okay, kid.
That's great, but like as soon as you snapped,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it was like noticeable. I mean, that's behind me, and I haven't caught it.
Mhm.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Man, I
She
should have
was-
brought my EMF with me.
I know, right?
Man.
Your spirit
Oh,
box. You got a
yeah,
spirit
that
box,
would-
right?
No, I don't have a spirit box.
Oh, you don't. They have an app for that now. Do you
They
know that?
charge a lot. Yeah, but
Do you really
No,
think
for-
the
they-
app would work?
No, it really did. I saw it was. I just watched. That's how I found out about the app. They actually had it, and it was actually talking through the app.
I'd rather
Like,
I'd
what?
rather have actual radio waves personally, just because I don't, that's digital.
Mhm.
I like the antenna, the analog type feel, because
It's like the old school shit.
yeah, or the needle. Like if we asked a question, the needle jumps.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
those are the kind of.
Now, see, I'm looking at my monitor just to see if I can see it.
He's all like,
Yeah, I'm
Well, then
I'm
you need to
staring at
shut
the
up
monitor.
because every time you talk,
Yeah,
the
so
camera
you-
goes back to you.
no, you need to shut up.
Well, didn't you tell me that Ashley came to you that one time in a dream?
Yes.
Remember?
Yes. Yes.
So-
Yes.
oh, and when I said that, Patrick's screen just glitched.
Did she come to you last night, smack you, and say, "Send out the flyers"?
No.
no, clearly not.
No, No, but hey, you know what?
You can't work miracles,
Should.
right?
Actually, he
Actually,
told
she
me
can.
that
That's why I'm
Ashley
asking.
showed
Yeah.
him exactly what happened. Wasn't that right? What happened?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yep.
We'll never hear.
In that dream. Yeah.
Mhm.
We'll save it for another podcast.
We'll save it for another.
Oh, yeah.
We'll save
get
it
Jim
for.
in.
Oh, what
Yeah,
time
we'll
is
save
it?
it for another
Ooh,
podcast.
yeah, it's
We'll save
getting
it for another
is getting
podcast
late.
when Jim can come in because I would like to see Jim. Jim, get your ass over here.
Yes,
It
I'd,
would have to
I'd love
be-
to be in that
It
conversation.
would have to be like a Friday night because a Friday.
Okay, we'll do
or-
a special
We'll do a
Friday night.
special-
I don't
a
care.
special
Yeah.
Friday or
Shit.
Saturday.
We just need to make sure we put the flyers out.
Hey, you know what? Let me tell you
Why
something. No. Let me tell you
Text
something.
me, bro.
Oh my God! here
Send the
we
picture
go.
to me. I'll
Here
post
we
it on the
go.
page now that I'm an admin.
No, listen. This thing has been played. Just posting one.
Uh-huh.
How can we just cut out?
Hold on, because I got his Jim's mic unmuted. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Just me posting that one at 4:00 yesterday afternoon
Mhm.
to the time that we started. That thing has
Mhm.
been viewed and been shared 17 times and viewed over 500 times. So obviously, all I needed was just one.
Where's the 500
people
times,
forget.
huh? Does it translate? It's not. I don't know.
And then,
Because you
with
got to
the-
do it the day of to remind them. That's the thing he doesn't.
Yeah.
realize.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's great. It got traction
so
4
the
days
thing
ago.
is- so the thing is that all through the podcast, I've been checking the inside or the
I saw.
analytics. Okay, we've been pretty steady all the way through the last 4 hours, and we've had over 150 views in and out.
Oh, thank
Awesome.
you, everybody, for
So
checking
there
us
you
out.
go.
Mhm.
So don't blame me on that shit.
Mm,
Next time, you know what? Next time I'll get Tara to
I
give me a
think
hand
even
on
you
it.
were blaming
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, it was.
And I
Right
like,
now,
that-
also,
I was
That's
blaming
not gonna
myself.
fly, sir. This is a team effort.
I was blaming myself. Yeah, I know.
All you gotta do is be like, Andy, I'm at work right now. Can you shoot out the
I know,
flyer?
and I've
Here's
been-
what it looks like, and I got you.
Yeah.
they keep
Okay.
piling on if
alright.
I worked.
Well,
got you.
all you could have done was to just shared it from fucking FU page.
I did
Okay.
after it got shared once.
No, it didn't get shared just once.
I
It
know,
was
just like-
it was shared
He's
about
cute.
10
Calm down,
times
Patrick.
before you
Calm
even get.
down.
No, me and Andy always gets into
I
it.
know
You
y'all
know it. So fuck you. And share it.
Oh, way to end the show, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So Jim,
got to
so-
keep it on par, you know.
so Jim, if you can hear me, when you come in on a Friday night, we'll
Or Saturday.
or Saturday, we'll do a special broadcast just for you and Tara. How about that?
That sounds wonderful.
All right.
All right, that's cool. All right, just don't kick my.
No, please do. He needs it.
Can you still hear me, Patrick?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Before you let me go off of here, want to say something to every young lady out there. Dating is a time period to make up your mind whether the guy is worthy of you. Don't sell yourself short at the first sign that the guy has an issue of any kind. Leave. Go away. Get rid of him. There's too many guys out there to settle for a guy that's not worthy of you.
Amen.
That's a Jiminism.
Jiminism.
Jiminism. We'll call that Jiminism. All right, Jim.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you tuning in.
Thanks,
Thank
Jim.
you for that.
Appreciate it. Nice seeing you, man.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Love you,
anytime.
honey.
Have a wonderful night and be safe out there and don't let the aliens get to you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Good night.
All right. Well,
So
It
how
is.
long we been at this?
Almost 4
Since
hours.
7.
Really?
Yeah.
3
Wow.
hours, 40 minutes almost.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. If you haven't liked and turned your follow and notifications and all that jazz on, go ahead and do it now. Go to the Frustration Unlimited page and like it.
Frustration.
Love it. So that way you'll get more of it. No, I'm just kidding.
That's another
Nice.
fucking definition.
Tara, thank you for coming in this evening.
Oh,
Yeah,
sharing your
thanks,
guys.
story.
Tara.
We
That was
absolutely.
very freaking nice
Yeah,
to see you.
absolutely.
Yes.
And
See you.
talk to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll be back. Yeah,
This is
if you
probably one
have
of
me, I'll
my
be back.
favorite
Oh, yeah, you're gonna
podcasts
bring
so
your
far.
husband, that's right.
134.
I'll bring my husband.
We stayed on subject the whole fucking time.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
We did good. Good job, guys.
Best podcast so far. Anyway.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and y'all have a great night. Be safe out there, and remember, if you're in a bad relationship, get the fuck out.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's right.
Red flags. Red
Red
flags.
flags. All right.
All right, y'all take care. See y'all.
We'll
Bye.
catch you on the next one.